ABC News Ghana. This is ABC Headlines. I am Khadija Isifu. Coming up in the headlines, government has announced the abolishment of the COVID-19 levy in the 2026 budget to boost household income and support businesses and drive economic transformation. Still to come, Parliament has, through a headcount, approved the nomination of Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. We have these and many more coming up. Do stay tuned. Streaming live on our Facebook at ABC News GH _. Now to the details. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiala Tuforsen has announced the abolishment of the COVID-19 levy as part of the 2026 budget aimed at boosting household income, supporting businesses and driving economic transformation. Presenting the budget on Thursday, November 13, Dr. Forsen announced a series of VAT reforms designed to ease the tax burden on individuals and businesses. He further noted that the effective VAT rate will be reduced from 21.9% to 20%. The VAT registration threshold increased from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 750,000 Ghana cedis, and VAT zero rating on locally manufactured textiles extended to 2028.
After months of detailed analysis and broad consultations with stakeholders, we have completed the design of modernized VAT system fit for Ghana's economic transformation agenda. Mr. Speaker, government is therefore submitting to this House today and for approval, Mr. Speaker, a bold package of VAT reforms that will make our tax system more equitable, transparent, and business-friendly. Right, Honorable Speaker, the new VAT reforms will do the following. We will abolish the COVID-19 health recovery levy. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the decoupling of Get Fund and National Health Insurance levies from the VAT tax base. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish VAT on recognizance and prospecting of minerals. Mr. Speaker, we will reduce the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%. Mr. Speaker, we will raise the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000 cedis. Mr. Speaker, we will extend VAT zero rating on the supply of local manufacturing textiles to 2028. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, we promise to abolish the COVID-19 levy. With the support of this House, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to say that I'm happy to announce that today, COVID-19 levy is accordingly abolished. Mr. Speaker, by abolishing the COVID-19 levy, government is putting 3.7 billion Ghana cedis in the pockets of individuals and businesses in 2026. Mr. Speaker, these reforms will also reduce the cost of doing business by 5% as a result of subjecting Get Fund and NHIL levies to input-output deductibility for businesses, Mr. Speaker. Altogether, the VAT reforms is expecting to give back nearly 6 billion Ghana cedis to businesses and households. We'll give it to you.
Still on the budget, Finance Minister Dr. Kasiala Toforsen has announced that the government will establish a value for money office to strengthen fiscal discipline, enhance accountability, and ensure that every cedi spent delivers tangible results for Ghanaians. According to the minister, although the implementation of public financial management laws has improved compliance, challenges such as inflated project costs, budget overruns, and abandoned projects continue to undermine efficiency.
The Speaker, the government is therefore updating procurement thresholds under the Public Procurement Act to restore their values and match today's market realities. Right Honourable Speaker, years of inflation and weak oversight have drained real value from public spending. Too often, projects are overpriced, delayed, or abandoned because scrutiny comes only after money is spent. To fix this, government will establish an independent value for money office, a permanent guardian of efficiency, accountability, and fiscal integrity. Speaker, it will certify major projects before approval, monitor delivery, and evaluate results to ensure every cedi delivers measurable value. The office will enforce cost benchmarks.
Away from that, the government has successfully renegotiated all power purchase agreements with independent power producers, saving over $250 million and restructuring 1.1 billion Ghana cedis in energy sector debt over a 4-year period. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiala Toforsen noted that the Electricity Company of Ghana's monthly revenue had increased by about 90% from $900 million to $1.7 billion.
Speaker, I will now give you an update on power purchase agreements, renegotiations, and other reforms in the energy sector. Right Honourable Speaker, when this administration took office, Ghana's energy sector was saddled with about $1.4 billion United States dollars in debt to independent power producers, a ticking fiscal bomb, I call it. Mr. Speaker, today, that burden has been lessened. We have renegotiated all power purchase agreements, led by Ghanaian experts at no cost to the state, saving over $250 million and restructuring 1.1 billion Ghana cedis over a 4-year period. Mr. Speaker, government is now fully current on payment, clearing $300 million United States dollars in 2025 year to date, and allocating $345 million United States dollars for 2026. Mr. Speaker, for the first time, we are not accruing new arrests in energy sector. Solar tariffs, projects like...
Meanwhile, President Mahama has directed all basic and secondary schools across the country to purchase only locally produced food, presenting the 2026 Budget and Economic Policy Statement in Parliament on Thursday, November 13, under the theme, Dr. Forsen outlined the new policy requiring schools to source rice, maize, chicken and eggs exclusively from Ghanaian producers. He further indicated in response to the food glut across the country, President John Dramani Mahama has directed for the immediate release of an additional 200 million Ghana cedis to Food Buffer Stock Company to purchase and store the excess food to protect the investment of farmers.
Speaker, President Mahama has also directed that all schools from basic to secondary to purchase rice, maize, chicken, and eggs produced in Ghana only. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, President Mahama has also directed that all schools from basics to secondary schools to purchase rice, maize, chicken, and eggs produced in Ghana only. Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of Education the Ghana Education Trust Fund, the school feeding program, the Free Secondary Education Secretariat, and the National Food Buffer Stores Company are accordingly directed to ensure strict compliance without fail.
Away from the budget, but still in Parliament, Parliament has, through a headcount, approved the nomination of Justice Paul Bafo-Boni as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Parliament approved him on Thursday, November 13. 163 members of the majority were counted, while the minority recorded 69 members. Presenting the report to the House, Committee Chairman Bernard Ahiafo said the decision followed extensive deliberations. However, the minority rose against the motion for his approval, arguing that the processes leading to his approval were not transparent, especially the removal of the former CJ, Justice Gertrude.
Honorable House has accordingly approved the nomination of Justice Paul Bafo-Boni as Chief Justice of the Republic in accordance with Article 114 Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution, respectively. I want to take this opportunity to, on behalf of the House, congratulate the nominee on his approval by Parliament. I urge the nominee to take all what has happened right up from the day of the nomination up to his approval, I should say prior approval by Parliament, consideration.
Now, away from Parliament, President John Dramani Mahama has commissioned phases 1 and 2 of the Tema Port expansion project, describing it as a major step in Ghana's transformation into a competitive trade and logistics hub for West Africa. The $1.5 billion Tema Port expansion project, implemented through a public-private partnership between Meridian Port Services, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, APM Terminals, and Africa Global Logistics, has been defined by the government as one of the largest and most ambitious port infrastructure developments in sub-Saharan Africa. In his address during the commissioning ceremony on Thursday, November 13, President Mahama said the project will create jobs and attract investments across multiple sectors of the economy, positioning Ghana as a preferred gateway for international trade and maritime operations in the region. He added, with improved logistics capacity, shorter turnaround times, and increased efficiency, this port enhances Ghana's ability to compete globally. It ensures that our exports reach markets more quickly and that our imports become more affordable for businesses and consumers alike. In a world that is driven by speed, technology, and efficiency, Tema Port modernization gives Ghana a competitive advantage. It is a strategic asset in attracting investments, creating jobs, and facilitating trade across various sectors. Stakeholders at the launch of the 5th edition of the Ghana Digital Innovation Week 2025 have called for the extensive adoption of digital innovation in the country's development agenda as a catalyst for growth and job creation. The opening ceremony of the Digital Innovation saw hundreds of participants, including government officials and private innovators, to discuss the future of technology and digital inclusion in Ghana. There's more in this package. Ceremony of the Ghana Digital Innovation Week 2025 brought together government, private sector, development partners, academia, and innovators to explore how technology is driving inclusive development and economic transformation. Representing the Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Director of Innovation at the Ministry, Emmanuel Ofori, disclosed that Ghana has developed a national artificial intelligence strategy aimed at balancing innovation with responsibility and inclusion. He noted that focal points have been identified across all ministries, each required to develop and begin implementing their strategies by 2026.
Ghana has also developed a national artificial intelligence strategy which balances innovation with responsibility and inclusion. This comprehensive strategy is awaiting cabinet approval to facilitate smooth implementation. With this one also, we have done a ministerial bootcamp to engage whole of government to adopt AI, and we have identified key focal points in all ministries. Each ministry is supposed to develop their KPIs and strategies to start implementation in 2026.
The CEO of Impact Invest in Ghana, Amalate, emphasized the organization's commitment to ensuring that impact investment reach underrepresented groups, empowering them to participate fully in the country's digital and economic transformation.
So Impact Invest in Ghana really wants to ensure that investments that are made in Ghana lead to impact. For example, transformation in lives of underserved communities, women, youth, people with disabilities, people dwelling in urban slums, rural areas, etc. To do that, we need to target businesses in the sectors that employ these people or provide services to these people. And so we try and do that. But because it's investments, those businesses still have to be profitable and make a good return.
Director and Head of Partnerships and Marketing at the 24-Hour Economy Secretariat, Dr. Ishmael Doju, underscored the importance of technology and innovation in the government flagship 24-Hour Economy program. He affirmed the government's commitment to providing capital support for young people with creative business ideas and encouraged the youth to take advantage of the policy.
24-hour economy is, I would say, is an inspirational gift to the youth to take it, run with it. And the way we want you to succeed with it is to give you the financial capital that you need. A cheap capital, not collateralized. One that will be related on your creativity of your business plan and be able to give you at a patient rate, so that you'll be able to build your equity and all of you can expand your prototype.
That's how we wrap up with the headlines this morning. For more news, visit our website at www.abcnewsgh.com and follow us on our socials at abcnewsgh_. ABC in the Morning with ABENA MANTE comes next. I am
Anka metia rent back could they be our patrol? Can I say? Come on, come see what? Hey, wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mumpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Hey there and welcome to Streets Weekday. On this episode, we are at Circle going to ask people a few questions about the new products of Gino. Stay tuned and follow me. Pacho, your friend say? Okay. Inti, your first question, one say, we should Gino adverts now. Omo nyumbi ende no omo kan bibi wo ho omo kan dey
no ma Chris hi amenya no mabon
3 sentences 3 words wetin ya ka tell me Gino bibi wetin ya ka tell me
oh ready nyu no
but you want me ka Gino
me to ba anyway na me ready kakla
wow. I love Gino. I can't miss this one. Is Gino pepper and onion?
Yes, that's correct. So here's your gifts for it.
Wow, thank you.
Hey
Gino.
Tomatoes paste. And the onion, na pepper wom, bibia wom. What the budget love for no
Gino.
Perfume rice. No, perfume rice. Different ones, Saba.
Aye. But we tomato paste near there, Gino.
As for that, the
perfume
rice. No papa ni.
My name is Benedicta Apia from Bekwai Asante, a student at the University of Ghana, and currently I'm playing for Teshi Constance. Right now, I'm in level 200. Okay, I started playing football at the age of 5 years, but I quit football through some injuries and some small distance. So I started again around 2021. Yeah, I started with Army Ladies. My mom used to encourage me in some ways because she was once a footballer and a volleyball player. So she always supports me in anything that I need in life to achieve my football career. Okay, football have meant a lot for me. Like, I know that through football you can help others in their destiny. Like, in their knees and something like that, like Grace Asantua used to do, like to the orphanage and other people. Yeah. Like this, my finger. I always use this my finger to motivate myself, because when I work this finger, I know say like I have done a lot, so I have to continue. So there is no need for me to give up in life through football. One, I'm a hard-working girl. Two, I like to motivate people through my experience in life. And three, well, I like to cheer up with people.
It's what I'm saying. When you give her time, believe me, she'll be one of the professional goalkeepers who gets in Ghana, because she can go far. Yeah, I've seen her movements, positioning, how she moves, how she scoops as a lady, and most importantly, the energy. Yes, the energy. But she has to work on her jumping small, and then her reflex. I think when she adds this to what she has, with what I've seen other ladies doing, she'll be ahead of them.
Yeah, right now, I'm thinking of playing for the Barcelona ladies team, and U20, or the Black Queens B, or even when I get a call up at the Black Queens A, I'm okay with it.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenini na da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your athletes' health matters with expert insight from our renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking points. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Markion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
News GH. You're watching ABC in the morning with me, ABENA Mante. Thank you so much for joining us. We're streaming live on our socials at ABC News GH, at ABC News GH. Today is the 14th of November, 2025, and it's a beautiful Friday morning. What does Friday signify? It tells us that the weekend is here, and so let's get ready to throw all our worries away and kick it back, spend some good time with friends, family, loved ones, and enjoy ourselves. But even before we go into the weekend, yesterday, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiala Tuforsen, was in Parliament to present the 2026 budget statement and economic policy. It was an evening where he told us what this government plans to do for the economy in 2026. And so far, many are excited about what was captured in the budget. You sample some opinions on social media, on X especially, and on Facebook, and you see that there's quite some excitement about this budget. One thing the finance minister mentioned was that the COVID-19 levy has been abolished. COVID-19 levy has been abolished. And so today on ABC in the morning, we'll go through the statement that was presented yesterday in Parliament, and we'll have some conversations on that. But even before the finance minister appeared in Parliament to present the budget, it was a very long period of debate. What was the debate about? It was concerning the approval of Justice Paul Bafuboni as CJ, as Chief Justice. You would recall after the removal of Justice Gertrude Sabasaki-Tokonu from her post as the Chief Justice, President John Dramani Mahama nominated Justice Paul Bafuboni to the position of Chief Justice. Subsequently, he was before the Appointments Committee of Parliament for his vetting. It was not a vetting without its own drama, as many would say. The minority decided not to be a part of the vetting, and so they walked out of the vetting. Yesterday, the chairman of the Appointments Committee, who is also the first Deputy Speaker, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, presented the Appointments Committee's report to Parliament. He presented it on the floor of Parliament. Following the presentation of the report, there was heated debate from both sides of the divide, from the majority and the minority. The minority were opposing the appointment of Justice Paul Bafuboni to the position of CJ. They said that there are so many legalities surrounding this seat of CJ. Justice Gertrude Sabasaki-Tokonu has sent the matter to the ECOWAS court. She's raised so many concerns concerning her removal. She believes that it's unlawful, it's been done to spite her in some way. And actually, other persons have also raised concerns such as that. The minority had the opportunity to have their say. They spoke about matters. The majority also opposed the minority's concerns. When the chairman of the Appointments Committee was reading the report, he said that Justice Bafuboni has really exemplified himself as a justice of the Supreme Court. He's shown a very high sense of competence. He's shown that he has a very fair judicial judgment and all. And so the nation will be benefiting if he becomes the Chief Justice of the country. The minority says that, well, let us resolve the issues around this Chief Justice matter, and then we can go ahead with what more to do. The Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, said that if the matters in courts go in favor at the end of the day for the Chief Justice who has been removed, Justice Gertrude Sabasaki-Tokonu, then the President will have no other option than to rescind his decision and reinstate her as Chief Justice, even if Justice Paul Bafuboni has been sworn in and all. But the minority believe that, you know what, let's avoid these matters and rather deal with the legality surrounding it. Back and forth, a lot of back and forth. And after a very lengthy time debating the matter, the Speaker took a head count. He took a head count, and after the head count, obviously the majority were going to win because they have 2/3 in parliament. They have the numbers in there, and that was the determination. The determination was that the report was adopted and Parliament have approved Justice, Parliament, beg your pardon, has approved Justice Paul Bafo-Bonny as the next Chief Justice. All we are waiting for is for the President, John Dramani Mahama, to swear him in, and then he no more becomes the acting Chief Justice, he becomes the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. And so these are the things that transpired yesterday in Parliament. But today, our attention, our focus is going to be on the 2026 budget statement that the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, presented to Parliament yesterday. We have all of this for you here on ABC in the morning. We'll be looking forward to speaking with you on the show. We'll be looking forward to receiving all of your messages on our socials. We're streaming on Facebook, ABC News Ghana. We're also streaming on YouTube. The channel is ABC News Ghana. And so you can watch us even when you're leaving home and drop a comment. Would love to hear from you and would love to read your comments. We'll also bring you the latest in the world of sports, and so you don't want to miss out on that at all. We'll take a break. When we return, Samoni Magbo will join me here in studio as we go through the budget. For those of us who did not have the opportunity to listen to the entire statement, we'll go through some of the very salient aspects of the budget so that we can be abreast with what to look forward to from government as we enter into a new year. This is ABC in the morning with me, ABENA MANTE. We are back after this break. Stay with us.
Pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenyi na da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abe fi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer. Come on, come and see what. We're busy, guy. My friend, see the phone.
It's the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telestar Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telestar Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
The glam we see, the characters we love, they've got stories, stories untapped, events untold, the sequence and details of the experiences unheard.
To my dad, I'm the stubborn one. To my mom, he's the stubborn one.
To the first management that I got, I think I was made to exercise a whole year.
Hey, I'm 20. All I know is how to have sex.
I was out of contract for 4 years.
The pain, the agony, The frustration.
They make my depression worse.
Kim worried.
Yes.
The hospital doesn't have a mortuary. We would have to take the baby in a box and then get rid of the body ourselves.
Sometimes I say something and they take it out of context and they bash my husband, they bash my family.
But hey, they survived and they're here to chronicle their journey with me, Miss G,
on ABC News GA.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey there and welcome to Streets We Day. On this episode, we are at Circle going to ask people a few questions about the new products of Gino. Stay tuned and follow me. Pacho, your first say? Okay. Into your first question, one say, we share Gino adverts now. Omo nyumbi, and they know omo can be woho. Omo can they?
No, my Chris, hi, and I know.
3 sentences, 3 words. Wait me a catch me, Gino, Bibi. Wait me a catch me. Oh, look, you wanna. But I want to mean Gino.
Wow, I love Gino. I can't miss this one. Is Gino pepper and onion?
Yes, that's correct. So here's your gifts for it.
Wow, thank you.
Hey, Gino.
Gino.
Tomatoes paste. And the onion, pepper womb, bibia womb. What about your love for no Gino, about your love.
Gino.
Perfume rice. I perfume rice. Different ones, Saba.
Aye. But we tomato paste near there, Gino.
As for that, the
perfume
rice. No papa near.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your admits of matters with expert insight from our renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
This is still ABC in the morning, live here on ABC News GH. It's time for our front story. Our front story, we are taking a look at the 2026 budget statement that was presented by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atto-Forsyth. It was read into the evening, so I can understand if some of us were unable to follow through it. It's why Samuel Nyimagbo is here to brief us about the 2026 budget statement, at least bring us up to speed on what we may have lost by not fully watching it. Sammy, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Abna.
You even decided not to sit. You want to stand.
Yeah, I prefer to stand. It's a lovely morning. I mean, a bit of exercise.
A bit of exercise, standing.
Standing is also exercise.
Okay, I agree. Well, Sammy,
I don't get to jog in the morning, so when I stand like this,
it helps you. Okay,
it helps me a lot.
Yesterday, the budget was read, Sammy, and a lot was stated. For me, I took my time to go on social media just to weigh the sentiments on social media. It was quite interesting reading some of the comments. For you, what did the budget inspire? First off, after you have gone through a few of them, then tell us what it inspires in you.
The 2026 budget, like you've mentioned, some have described it as one of the best budgets in a long time that the country has witnessed. Because if you look at the government expenditure and their revenue target, it makes a bit of it is not over ambitious as we used to see governments do promise much and they can't deliver. And some of the targets that the government has set itself. In fact, if you look at the 2025 budget and the review we had mid-year, the medium budget review, and as it stands now, some of the target the government set for itself for 2025, it has surpassed them. So going into 2026, there's a bit more of enthusiasm from the government side that they can meet even their 2026 target because they've been able to maintain the fiscal discipline. One of the most important things that government was able to achieve in this year is fiscal discipline. Not overspending in their budget and all of that.
And that's also one thing that the minority
is using against government. Because if you are not spending, it means that real growth is going to stagnate. Because it is true, most of Ghana's growth has been government-induced spending, right?
Well, so let me not let you
so,
talk much. Let's give our viewers what yesterday the finance minister presented.
A lot was said. I mean, after the brouhaha concerning the CJ approval, people got fatigued. In fact, I got fatigued. Didn't want to follow the budget that much. But when Atto-Forsyth, Dr. Kasiel Atto-Forsyth took the podium to read the budget, it rallied everybody around. People started to pay attention. But we are here this morning to give you a breakdown of the key indicators, the targets the government has set for itself, in terms of revenue, in terms of fiscal spending, in terms of its expenditure, and all the indicators to show whether we are on the right path. Because, like I mentioned, the 2025 budget and its review has shown that the government is on the right path, especially in terms of fiscal discipline, in terms of inflation indicators and all these other indicators. But the government in 2026 has set new targets because every year you have to set yourself new target. And some of the target, for example, if you look at the medium-term macroeconomic policy objective, that is, these are the things they want to do in the medium term. Medium term here refers to 2026 to somewhere 2029, right?
Okay.
In the medium term, what is the government trying to do in terms of its macroeconomics policy? It says that it wants to sustain fiscal discipline and debt sustainability by implementing prudent debt management strategies. You remember the debt restructuring program, one that the then government said it was a necessary evil because our debt had reached unsustainable level. We had overspent our budget and all of that. And this government came in and started to ensure fiscal discipline by not overspending and all of that. And they say that in 2026 and beyond, in the medium term, they want to maintain this fiscal discipline, right? Not outspending the budget and not having budget deficit. Even if we have a budget deficit, our budget deficit per our current laws, it shouldn't be more than 5%, right? So even if you achieve of your GDP, even if you achieve budget deficit, it shouldn't be more than 5% of GDP. So they want to maintain that fiscal discipline. Also, they want to build and sustain a resilient and inclusive economy with growth powered by productivity, innovation, and private sector enterprise. So in the medium term, these are the areas, these are the target for the government, right? They want to make sure that growth is induced by private sector enterprise through productivity and innovation, right?
Okay.
So if you look at the policy initiatives, right, will come there. You see where the government is going to be spending their money to ensure all of these things are met. So these are the first two policy objectives in terms of macroeconomics. Also, they want to deepen structural reforms to modernize the economy, boost productivity, and attract private investment. In terms of, we've always been talking about modernizing our economy because our economy has been informal, largely informal. So every government sets the target to modernize it, make it a bit formal. Payment system should be formalized, right? Tax and then collection system should be formalized, and all of these. So we wait to see how the government try to achieve this.
I'm also looking at the private investment because the government has also been very vocal about attracting more investors into the economy and also yielding some part of the economy to the private business persons so that they can employ more people.
Yeah, in fact, not long ago, the government was seeking to scrap taxes for foreign investment or foreign investors in Ghana, seeking to amend, I've forgotten the act, seeking to amend the
GIPC Act.
Yes, seeking to amend the GIPC Act to ensure that we can attract more investors and scrap the taxes and quotas that foreign investors are supposed to pay. It generated a lot of controversy because local investors and local businesses
are also struggling.
They feel like if you allow more foreign investors to come in, you will cripple local productivity.
Case, it says private investment.
So it could be also within. Yeah, and also they want to strengthen social protection so that the most vulnerable, particularly women, children, and the poor, are shielded. We've always been talking about that,
which is very important. I mean, you know how biased I am when it comes to that.
Gender issues.
Yes.
But the issue for me has been that we've done a lot of lip service.
A lot of lip service right?
Around these areas. We've had LEAP, like the Livelihood Empowerment Program. It's been in existence since the Kufuor regime. We've not really upgraded it that much. We want to see how the government wants to protect the poor and the vulnerable, especially women and children. They also want to maintain a flexible exchange rate regime. Our exchange rate regime has always been one that has been unstable for some period. But in this few months that this government has taken over, we've seen some stability with our exchange rate.
But the minority says that it is artificial.
We wait to see
if
indeed, because if it's artificial, it's not going to be sustainable over a long period. It means that if it is artificial, when we get to the point where the government can no longer pump money into the forex market, it will crumble. We wait to see that. But the government has wholeheartedly denied that allegation. So these are some of the macroeconomic policy targets. If we can move to the next one to look at fiscal policy objectives, right? Fiscal policies in terms of spending. These are the objectives of the government in 2026. Maintain fiscal discipline by sustaining a primary surplus of at least 1.5% of GDP. At least 1.5% of GDP. The quota is 5%, but they haven't set in a target of 1.5. So it means that we are not going to see a lot of overspending. They don't want to overspend the budget, which correlates with their macroeconomic objectives. Sustain fiscal discipline. Mobilize more domestic revenue through continuous implementation of the medium-term revenue strategy. Tax and revenue collection is one of the most important things for this 2026 budget. We will come to the revenue measures and we'll explain. That's where you see they've abolished the COVID levy, and they've introduced new VAT regime, a VAT reform, and to ensure that we collect more taxes.
Was it? I think after the first budget, or some time ago, we spoke with the former information minister, Kojo Oponkoma, and he talks so much. He's one person who's for collecting taxes because
he's a current ranking member of the Economic Development Committee of Parliament, Economic Development Committee of Parliament, and yes, he is very much intrigued about revenue collection.
So he built the country.
Yeah. In fact, when you will agree with me that not many Ghanaians like to pay tax.
Nobody wants to do away with their money. As for that, it's normal.
But the problem has always been if we pay tax and we get the returns on our tax, value for the tax.
We'll be able to build the country, which is very important.
If we pay and we see that our tax is being used for the work is supposed to be done,
you'll be glad to pay.
People will not have problem paying. But the problem has been that we pay the taxes and
from the side of government, they say that we don't pay enough taxes. They are not collecting enough taxes.
Because the tax base is not broadened.
It's not broadened. So the pressure is on just the few.
Yeah. So that's one thing that every government has also played lip service around, trying to broaden in the tax net. We've played lip service. Now, in terms of fiscal policy as well, we want to cut waste, promote value for money, and rationalize spending. Promote value for money. When you say rationalize spending, it means that you are going to spend on the most important things. We are not going to overspend. We are going to cut waste. Through oral, one of the things that they wanted to use to...
why are you saying wanted? They want to use.
They want, right? I mean, they are still in government, right? They want to use to... they want to use to what? Let me say... deal with corruption.
Right.
And so that's one of the way of cutting waste. And many Ghanaians are hoping to see the value of oral, especially in relation to the previous administration, which this government criticized as being corrupt and they will go after the money. We are here to see the money they will go after.
Well, it's been 11 months already.
Some cases are in court. We want to see how much they can actually recover. So governments want to cut waste in public sector spending as well. They want to cut waste in public sector spending as well. So these are some of the objectives in terms of fiscal policies. Let's look at what is next. You would see that in terms of even revenue measures, in terms of revenue measures, in terms of expenditure, the government is trying to do more in that regard, be concise, ensure fiscal discipline. In fact, there's, in terms of revenue, for instance, like I mentioned, there's a new VAT system that the government is using. ABENA, again, the government wants to protect priority social spending in education, health, and social protection to shield the poor, create fiscal space for development by prioritizing growth enhancing capital investment, by prioritizing growth enhancing capital investment and all of that. They also want to strengthen debt sustainability through prudent borrowing and active debt management and transparent reporting, enhance expenditure control and audit systems to prevent arrears and improve accountability across all MDAs and all of that.
I love the MDAs part because you remember we've had certain conversations about MDAs and how MDAs can better provide for our economy, how MDAs can give more to the economy, Sami. And so to see that captured, that would be great because at the very local level, some good monies could be made, and then from that we could also develop our local authorities where we stay and all, and so that's very important.
That is very important. Let's look at what is next, because let's look at the macroeconomic targets as well, right? We have the objectives and the target. So overall GDP growth of at least 4.8%, right? Overall GDP growth at least 4.8%, driven by continued expansion in services and manufacturing in the agriculture.
Well, I mean, the last time or the few times that the Statistical Service has released reports, we have realized that the services sector has been driving
Ghana's GDP.
Yes. Unfortunately, agriculture hasn't been doing that. So I'm glad we have included agriculture, seeing as agriculture is the backbone of the economy. And so let's see how it goes.
Right. So the government wants to a GDP target of 4.8%, 4.8%, driven by the continued expansion in services and manufacturing sector. Also, the target for non-oil GDP growth of at least 4.9%. Non-oil GDP growth of at least 4.9%. Abna, end year inflation of 8%. You know, the end year inflation target for this year was about 11%. The government has surpassed that, and now we are doing 8%. Next year, they want to maintain inflation
at 8%
again. End year inflation target of 8%. We wait to see if they really can do that. They want to maintain end year inflation at 8% next year, which is a very ambitious target.
It is?
It is. That if you look at the predictions from the IMF, World Bank, we are going to have a very stable inflationary period in the medium term from 2026 to 2028. We have to. So I understand why the government is a bit ambitious with this, because even the IMF and World Bank and these other rating agencies have predicted that our inflation will come down and stabilize within these 6 to 2028. So the government is also setting this target. It means that they are not looking to see that our inflation goes high. And Abena, trust me, when inflation is down, it reflects in the ordinary Ghanaian's pocket. Yeah. So it is a target that we want to see how the government achieves that. Also, a primary surplus of 1.5%. We've already mentioned that they don't want to overspend the budget, right? So if they have overspent, should be 1.5%.
I like how you say overspent. That's very, very Ghanaian of you.
Yes, 1.5% of GDP should be the threshold that they can overspend. On commitment basis, in line with our fiscal responsibility framework to sustain and what do you call it, discipline. Also, a gross international reserve of not less than 3 months of import cover, ensuring a strong external sector and strong defense for the Ghanaian city. They want our reserves to be sustainable, of at least not less than 3 months of import cover. So our reserves say if Ghana starts importing, that is what it means today. How much can our reserves sustain us? Right? If we place an embargo on import as it stands now, all import, how much can our reserves sustain us? They say that they are targeting at least 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. So we wait to see. Let's quickly go to the key drivers of growth and jobs in the 2026 and medium term. So what are the issues or factors that are going to drive growth in 2026 and beyond in the medium term? So these are the sectors the government is looking at to drive what? Growth, to create jobs for the youth, to create jobs for Ghanaians, because unemployment in Ghana is on the rise. We've seen that at the
sports stadium and
across the country that process is still going on.
Well,
the recruitment process is still going on, some in the country. I understand some are supposed to report today and others report. The last batch will report tomorrow. So it shows that the youth do not have jobs to do. Most of these people who went to ELWAC and there was a stampede, if they had alternatives, trust me, they wouldn't be opting for military. Most of them are not even enthusiastic about the military.
But they need what will sustain them.
To sustain them. So anything comes, they jump onto it. So the government targets or the key drivers will be the implementation of the Public-Private Partnership Act 2020 and the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act to make it simpler, faster, and safer to start and grow business. So this is for the business community. The government is trying to, or will, because these are the things that will promote growth in 2026 and beyond. They want to implement the Public-Private Partnership Act, Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act 2020. These two acts to make sure that the registration of businesses and is easier, it's faster and safer, so people can start their businesses, startups can start brewing up, and that will generate growth in the economy. The establishment of 24/7 business registration centers and digital helplines, reviewing port charges and submitting new consumer protection competitions and business regulatory reforms bills to Parliament. So, Abena, this is also a part that the government is seeking to make sure that business registration is not a problem. So they will establish business registration centers across the country, right? Business registration centers across the country to make sure that it is easy for businesses to register their business across the country. So these are some of the targets. Also, the government is seeking or looking at this area, boosting export and strengthening the Ghana's position in regional and global value chains. Right? Government is seeking to strengthen our position in regional and global value chains through export. So we'll be exporting more of our materials, either in raw forms or value added. The most important would be that the government ensure that our exports have value on them. So we export things that have value and not just a raw material. So the government is looking at adding value to our export to strengthen our position on the global level. Also, 24-hour economic program and the economic transformation agenda. These are the areas the government is looking to steer up growth in the economy. 24-hour economy and the economic transformation agenda. We know the 24-hour economy has already been launched. The government is in the process of facilitating the quick rollout and adoption of the 24-hour economy across board, and they are hoping to do that in 2026 to stir up growth. Also, they want to roll out a 5-year trade sector support program. 5-year state trade sector support program, and help Ghanaian firms fully leverage opportunities under the African continental free trade area. Very important. Ghana has not really we've not really accumulated the value from
the
right,
African continental free trade
area. We've not really, really as a country tapped into it because AFTA's headquarters is in Ghana.
It's in Ghana. You know, conversations we've had with business people on ABC in the morning, most of the business people have complained.
Yeah.
They have said that we have the headquarters in Ghana.
But we are
However,
not leveraging on it.
We are not leveraging it. And the business community is also suffering.
Yeah.
The other business persons from other countries are enjoying. They are enjoying perks in their country. They come into our country too, and they enjoy. And it looks like they are the ones suffering. So let's see how government is able to.
This 5-year trade sector support program would help Ghanaians leverage, and Ghanaian businesses leverage on AFTA. Very important component that the Ghana's government should be very concerned about. Also, another area that the government want to use to stir up group is to anchor the agri sector for economic transformation for economic transformation agenda with the Feed Ghana program supported by farmers service centers and new farm banks to enhance access to input, finance, and irrigation. So basically, you remember the Feed Ghana program. One of the its legs is the Nkukonkete.
And you know how much I appreciate the Feed Ghana project and the program. I'm really praying and hoping that it prospers, that it succeeds. Because again, we go back to agric and how agric is not what is driving the country. But then there's an underlying factor, Sami. And I'm sure you come to it. The whole issue of galamsey. We need to deal with it to be able to maximize
the agric sector. And in fact, we've always said that the agriculture is the backbone of our economy. But we, like I always say, we play lip service. We've not really invested into our agric and modernized the way we should have.
Well, let me ask you a personal.
Of the agric
let me ask you a personal question. You are from a farming community, right, Sami? And tell us how it is for farming communities and how great it would be if the hard work you put into the farming was translating into the growth of the economy.
Most farming communities as it stands now are suffering. Most of them are in their harvest period. And the complaint is that their produce are not being bought by customers. People are not buying their produce, and some of the produce go waste. In fact, my place, granite that used to sell sometimes to 40 cedis per an olonka of granite, or 40
cedis
or 45.
Interesting.
Is now selling around 15, 20 cedis and 25.
And it's still not being bought.
That is maximum if you get ground, and it's still not being bought. Yam sales has come down. People are not buying yam in the large quantities, and even they are buying, the value of the money is not enough. So the farming communities are really struggling. That is why I was happy that the finance minister mentioned that government is releasing about 200 million Ghana cedis or 120 million Ghana cedis to the buffer stock to buy some of these produce from local producers and store them, because there is no market for the farmers. My people back in Tatale and other surrounding areas are complaining that the produce that they produce from the farms, our place they farm yam, groundnut, maize, and all of these things, millet, and all of these things. It's not being bought, and even if it's buying, it's not at a price that is appreciable. So the farmers are just throwing away their produce to buyers at cheaper prices. And what pains them is that when they sell their produce to customers at cheaper prices, they go to the market to buy things for themselves, and they buy it at what? Higher prices.
Higher prices,
so
exactly.
it's like you are selling yours at a cheaper price, but going to buy someone's at a higher price. And it's because the farm produce are largely in Ghana, not being bought, and the market is going down. That is why Ghana should be accelerating export of our produce or turning these produce into finished goods. can turn yam into something, turn pepper or whatever into something, like turn it into finished good. Let's set up companies, manufacturing companies, let the investors come, or if you don't have the knowledge, let the investors come set up these manufacturing companies in these local areas, not in Accra. They should go there, set up the companies, they buy the materials, the raw materials from the farmers, and turn them into finished goods. Then we can then export those finished goods to the market. After a year, when we have finished goods, after we can leverage on after to what? To export them. But as it stands now, trust me, a lot of the farmers are not happy.
A few days ago, Ajin Kotoku and the
onions are getting rotten.
Meanwhile, when onions are not in season, very expensive. I remember an episode of Business Fix where we went to the market and I spoke with a vegetable seller. She sells on a large scale. And one thing she was complaining about was lack of cold store facility. She says that they have to make use of the private ones. And when she mentioned the price of just a small square where she has to keep it, it's so high.
She can afford.
No, and she's even someone who is selling on a very large scale. She can't afford it, but it's just too high. So imagine the other people who can't.
Underground.
Yes.
So the system is yet to develop. Like I said, we keep making promises that we are not keeping. We keep playing lip service with our farmers. We will do this for you, we'll do this for you, and we don't see the end of it. By now, Ghana should be having a robust, like you said, storage facilities across the country, storing farm produce, government buying them, even if private individuals are not buying.
I just
and
keep going
storing
back.
them because trust me, 5-6 months to come, when we are out of the harvesting period,
we'll be hungry.
We'll be hungry.
And then we'll be buying.
The prices will rise.
Skyrocket.
Yes. Then you see inflation, because most of our inflation is induced by what? The agriculture sector, food inflation. Food, you see that because the food product, the food stuff, the prices have skyrocketed, food inflation goes up. And it's because we're out of the harvesting period. The food has gone waste. The food stuff has gone waste.
And they also at the farm gate. The road
to even
network is bad.
From the farm gate to the market is a problem. If I tell you the nature of roads in the northern part of the country where I'm from, the villages linking to the
then
city.
For our community watch, we'll be going to your hometown, Sami.
It is an eyesore, Abena. So these are some of the things the government wants to do. We want to see how they do this. They are talking about farm banks. They are talking about farm banks, right, to enhance access to input. Finance is another thing. Finance is another thing. Farmers need money to be able to invest into their farming, and the government is promising new farm banks and farmers supporting service centers. We want to see how that works out. So, Abena, these are the key areas the government thinks will stir up growth. If they invest in these areas, it will stir up growth. Let's look at expenditure, how they are going to distribute the money that they will accrue in 2026. Where is the spending going to be? This is the key part. Because when you are spending much on interest payment, servicing debt, if you are spending much on service and payment of if you are servicing much on payment of salaries, allowances, and all of that, you are not going anywhere. The most important is capital spending. So let's look at how much the government is going to spend and where the spending is going to. First, total expenditure on commitment basis for 2026 has been programmed at 302 billion Ghana cedis, representing 18.1% of GDP, and an increase of 20.1% over the 2025 projection of 251.7%, 7 billion Ghana cedis, which was 17.8% of GDP. Commitment-based spendings are basically spending to statutory bodies that the government is mandated to spend on, paying maybe NHIS, paying to statutory bodies in the country. Government is mandated by acts in the constitution to spend money into these sectors. Those are commitment basis, whether they like it or not. The government
they have to
spend on commitment, because you have committed in your constitution or through an act that you have to provide this amount of money to this body to do this A, B, and C. So these are commitment based. The government is going to spend 302.5 billion, which is 18.9% of our GDP. Also, primary expenditure, that is expenditure excluding interest payment. Expenditure excluding interest payment is projected to be 244.7 billion Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to 15.3% of GDP. Out of interest payment, this is how much you are going to be paying, excluding interest. Interests are the money we pay on our loans, on our debts. And Ghana's problem has been that we keep paying interest on loans because we've borrowed so that every government has to pay interest on loans, right? So that is one area. Also, compensation of employees, covering wages, salaries, pension, gratuities, and social security contribution is projected to be 90.5 billion. Government is going to spend 5.7% of GDP in 2026 to pay compensation, employees, government sector employees. And they say that this is reflective of the 9% increment. So all of this is the 9% that increment that the government has added to public sector workers, which most of them are lamenting that it's not enough. If you add all the money, it is projected to be 90.8 billion Ghana cedis. Now, use of goods and services is projected at 13.3 billion Ghana cedis, which is 0.3% of GDP, to enhance efficiency in service delivery across MMDA. So these are monies that government is going to be spending on the use of goods and services, paper and all of this, and buying papers, buying communities for the offices. Yes, buying communities for the government offices and all of that. We are going to spend 13.2 billion Ghana cedis, some huge sums of money there.
Really?
Let's look at other government expenditure measures. Let's look at government expenditure measures. So, Abena, these are areas. Realize that I think I missed out on the interest payment. Government is also spending a huge amount, about 8% of our GDP, to pay interest.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
If we were not spending that much, some of us could have gone to paying the public sector workers, adding up. Maybe it should have been 15% instead of the 9%.
I mean, it's a cost the government has come to incur, so you can't blame them. I mean, we've restructured our debt, and some of the debt we start paying from 2027 and all of that. You know, the debt restructuring with external and internal, creditors. We have to pay, and every government pay debt services. So, right, it is something government has committed to. Now, 2026 expenditure measures. These are also things they are going to be spending on. We are opening it up. We are breaking down where the government is going to spend. They will contain recurrent spending by capping non-essential expenditures such as foreign travels, workshops, and vehicle procurement, and eliminating low impact programs. So government is basically saying that they are going to play a cap on non-essential expenditures, foreign travel. So we are not going to see a lot of foreign travels. In fact, this year, the government released a policy initiative that not every employee of the government can travel at any time. You need approval from the chief of staff before you can travel and all of that. So government is trying to cut waste in that spending. Travels, workshop organizations, and all of that. They want to cut the waste in there. Rationalize and make funds towards high impact and job creation project. in roads, energy, agriculture, and education.
These are very important aspects of our economy.
So they are going to rationalize the spending in there, focus the spending in there, right? You are going to make sure that
the money goes where it has to go.
Where it has to go to, in areas such as creating jobs in the energy sector, roads, agri, and education.
Very important.
These are very important.
I would love that, because we've had reports about the free SHS that is going on at the moment, and how some headmasters are collecting money
from students
and from parents, disguised as PTA dues and all. So I want to hear some more. I want to appreciate it so that we can appreciate it better. That's what I'm looking for. And seeing what we do much for the education, there are still some very terrible school structures.
Yes, yeah, very terrible. Schools under trees are still in Ghana. 2025, big 2025. We still have schools under trees.
Very unfortunate.
In fact, I saw a building of my SHS, Bunda Junior High School in Kitikrachi.
Your JHS or your SHS?
Sorry, my JHS rather.
What's it called?
Bunda.
Right.
JHS, Bunda JHS in Kitikrachi, and the building is an eyesore, dilapidated and that building is even owned by the district assembly of the school. In fact, the school is just a road that divides the school from the district assembly.
So the district assembly can see the school.
They can see and that building is theirs that the school has been using for over a period. We sat there as Form 3 students. So when we're going there, you Form 1, Form 2, we have a block. Form 3, you come to that block and then you sit there. The district assembly, the education directorate are all watching. They are seeing there. It's in Kitikrachi, and it is just opposite them. They've seen the building crumbling, they've seen everything dilapidated, and no one is doing something about it. In fact, the old students, we are trying to write to the authorities to see what they can do about that building, because it's an eyesore. And Bunda is one of the oldest JHS in the Kitikrachi township. In fact, Kitikrachi is one of the oldest towns in the enclave, in the OT region, and even the Volta region. It's one of the oldest. Kitikrachi dates way back. It has the second biggest prison in Ghana. Kitikrachi has the second biggest prison after Nsawam. The Kitikrachi prison is the second biggest.
Interesting.
And that school is one of the oldest. It has produced a lot of
people. Including someone you might know.
Including me. And the building is
dilapidated.
In fact, it's just a few meters away from the school Manasseh Azuri went, Henkel JHS.
Oh.
And ours is getting dilapidated. So if the authorities are watching, in fact, they should attend to that building, Bunda JHS building, and all other schools under trees, dilapidated schools. Even schools in my hometown in Mbolado in the Tatale Sangli district, dilapidated. Abena, this country I'm concerned.
Well, but we pray it gets better. We are working towards it. Taxes will be collected from us. IGFs from the various MMDAs. We pray that the monies go to the right places.
So I'm happy the government said they want to rationalize spending in these areas. Let's see how that is done. So let's continue, Abena. Now let's look at the revenue measures. How are we going to make money for all of these spending that the government is elaborating on? First, an implementation of a new VAT reforms that will abolish the unfamous, some describe it unnecessary, should never have happened, COVID levy. The government is abolishing it henceforth. So COVID levy is gone, and gone for good, because if you go to the restaurant and you buy food and you see the COVID levy thing, Charlie, the pain pass. Abolish the decoupling of the GET fund and the NHIL levies from the VAT tax base, allowing both levies to be subject to input tax deductions. This is another thing. The government wants to stop the decoupling of the GET fund and then NHIL levies from VAT tax base. So it means that they want to decouple them again, right? And abolish VAT on recognizance and prospecting of minerals. They are going to abolish VAT on prospecting of minerals. This goes to the mining sector. This goes to the mining sector. So it said that these reforms rather broaden the tax base, right? These reforms rather broaden the tax base. So the government is seeking to abolish VAT on reconnaissance and prospecting of minerals. Let's look at the other revenue measures, because Abna, if you look at this one as well, which is still under the VAT reforms, reduce the effective VAT rate from 21 to 20%. So government
21.9%.
21.9% to 20%. Government is going to reduce VAT rate. So businesses will be smiling. Some say it is not much, but it is something that you should be happy about. Is a 1.9% percentage point reduction, at least to the large companies, to the small businesses that are paying tax. This calculation goes into huge sums. For the large companies, these calculations go into huge sums, right? So that 1.9% reduction will make some, will keep money in their pocket. Raise the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000. So the threshold for paying VAT is 200,000. If you make 200,000, now government is going to raise it to 700,000. In fact, so businesses that do not fall under this threshold are going to be out of the
and
VAT
they can
base. They can breathe some space. So this is rather going to stimulate business growth in a way, because if I'm not paying much taxes, I'm going to reinvest that money
and then also employ more
people. So maybe it's a smart move from the government. Extend the VAT zero rating on the supply of locally manufactured textiles to 2028. So zero rating for textile locally manufactured.
I would be glad.
To 2028.
I'd be glad. You go into the market, Sammy, you want to buy fabric, and the locally manufactured fabrics are just a few in town, and they're even more expensive than the ones that they've imported.
GTP, where's GTP?
GTP is there.
How many people do you see?
Because some people can't afford it. That's where I'm coming to.
Costly, yeah.
And some of these importers would pick the locally manufactured fabric designs, take it out, and then go and print it and bring it back.
Let's look at the continuation. And the next is embark on a comprehensive reform of Ghana's key tax laws, including income tax, Custom Act, the Excise Duties Act, to align with global best practices, promote equity and competitiveness, simplify compliance, and enhance revenue generation. Very important area that the government is looking at. But these reforms are going to see some, in these reforms, you are going to see some adjustment upward. In terms of Excise Duty Act, you are going to see some adjustment upward. And then even for excise duty, you are going to see some upward adjustment. Customs as well, they are going to broaden the base and allow more people to pay. For the excise duty, for instance, we are going to see adjustment or increase in tax for plastics, those who produce plastics, and some other materials.
Well, it will fall with the president's directive. Yeah. Remember a few months ago, he says that he wants to remove them from the system.
This way of discouraging the production of plastic. In fact, in the budget, it says that it's no more Excise Duty Act or excise duty. It's no more just a fiscal policy. It's more now an environmental policy. It means that they want to use it to stop environmental pollution and ensure environmental sustainability. So those who are producing an environmentally unsustainable product are going to be taxed more so that they stop the production of that. Closing revenue measures. Government will deploy artificial intelligence, AI-driven pre-arrival inspection for all cross-border shipments. They want to close the revenue leakages at the port, right? Close revenue leakages at the port, Tamaport, Takrady, and all those ports, so that the money that is going to private people, the guru boys that are taking money and all of that, they want to close all of that so that we can rake in more money from the port, and then they will deepen international tax cooperation. So now this is just this is a breakdown of the 2024 budget. At least our viewers have seen where government is going to be spending.
And we've appreciated it.
And I've appreciated how much government wants to spend. The target the government has set itself in terms of macroeconomic indicators. The government still wants to end next year with a GDP surplus of at least 1.5%. They also want to end next year with end year inflation of plus or minus 8%. So still want to maintain that. He wants to be fiscal disciplined, ensure protection of the vulnerable by spending in those areas, spend and rationalize spending in the agri sector, in the energy sector, in the education sector, and all of that. So these are some of the priority areas the government has outlined. And they say that if they're able to achieve this, Ghana would see some upliftment in the economy.
Well, Sammy, we really appreciate this breakdown you have brought to us, and we'll have more conversation on it.
Right.
Well, this is the breakdown of the 2026 budget as presented by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, yesterday in Parliament, and Samuel Nyimado has brought you all of it. We'll have more conversation on it, and I mean, in the coming week, we'll pick portions of the budget and have discussions like we've had today. Sammy, thank you. Well, viewers, we will take a break. When we return, we'll bring you more discussions here on ABC in the morning. Stay with us.
Country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make me ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, so mommy, who is going to do my day jollof?
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah. Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so cool. Tasty, yeah.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see what? Where this guy? My friend, still do form.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto chiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, na abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
The glam we see, the characters we love, they've got stories untapped, events untold, the sequence and details of the experiences unheard.
To my dad, I'm the stubborn one. To my mom, he's the stubborn one.
To the first management that I got, I think I was made to exercise a whole year.
Hey, I'm 20. All I know is how to have sex.
I was out of contract for 4 years.
The pain, the agony, the frustration, they make my depression worse.
Yes.
The hospital doesn't have a mortuary. We would have to take the baby in a box and then get rid of the body ourselves.
Sometimes I say something and they take it out of context and they bash my husband, they bash my family.
But hey, they survived and they're here to chronicle their journey with me, Miss G,
on ABC News GA.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your admits of matters with expert insight, former renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking points. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Hey there and welcome to Streets with Day. On this episode, we are at Circle going to ask people a few questions about the new products of Gino. Stay tuned and follow me. Pacho, your friend say? Okay. Into your first question, one say, we share Gino adverts now. Omo nyumbi, and they know omo can be woho. Omo can they?
No, my Chris, hi, and I know.
3 sentences, 3 words. Wait till I catch me. Gino, Bibi. Wait till I catch me.
Oh, you wanna.
But I want to mean Gino.
Wow, I love Gino. I can't miss this one. Is Gino pepper and onion?
Yes, that's correct. So here's your gifts for it.
Wow, thank you.
Hey, Gino. Tomatoes, paste. And the onion, pepper, bibia, what the budget love for no
Gino.
Perfume rice. Perfume rice. Different ones, Saba.
Aye. But we tomato paste near there, Gino.
As for that, the
oh.
Perfume rice. No papa and
You're welcome back. Beg your pardon for that break. But we are back and we have some conversations. As we're going through the breakdown of the budget, let's have some conversations about the budget. Joining me for a conversation this morning, I have here in studio with me Dr. Peter Tepe. He is a policy analyst. Doc, you're welcome.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. It's great to finally meet you in the studio after so many online conversations.
Very, very. Same to me as well. It's good to meet you personally
Yes.
as well.
And we are not only joined by Dr. Peter Tepe, I also have with me Paul Ofori. He is the head of research at COPEC. Paul joins us via Zoom, and we're also joined by John Amponsa, the Deputy Director of Communications for the United Party. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Abena. Good morning, Abena. I can hear you.
Paul, I trust you're doing well.
Great here. How about you?
Wonderful. I'm doing well too. And you're wearing your St. Peter's shirt.
It's for a reason. I will come back to that one.
One would have thought that after your performance in the NSMQ, you take your time on repping your school.
Abena, are we not family again? Eh? where you are taking this conversation to. Please, let's do this.
We should go to the conversation. Okay. Well, John, you're also welcome to the conversation this morning.
Thank you for having me, Abena.
Thank you for joining us, John. Well, this morning we'll be looking at the budget, the 2026 budget, one that many say that it's a great budget. But first off, let me take the point and the opinions from our guest. Doc, what is your first takeaway or your biggest takeaway from the budget that was read yesterday by the finance minister?
Thanks very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. In fact, the budget has too many good things that requires a lot of political will for us to see it manifesting.
Okay.
There are, in fact, it's a people-centered budget where it's looking at how to impact the real economy and how to sustain the gains that we have made over the years. In fact, I've seen that this is a budget that is looking at how to strengthen the local economy by strengthening businesses that operate in the economy, where government is thinking of establishing some factories, like garment factories. They say they want to do 3 of them. They also want to establish a cashew factory that also, post-harvest losses. The government also has directed that henceforth all food that is needed by schools should all be bought locally. And so all this point to the fact that government is actually thinking of the local economy. They are also thinking of, developing oil palm. Oil palm is one area that we have lacked for far long, that Malaysia is making a lot of money from. In fact, the annual consumption is about, 200,000 to 300,000 metric tons. Unfortunately, we don't have enough plantation that meet our demand. So we always have to import. And we have the land that can do that. We were doing that in the 70s and the 60s. Unfortunately, we have left it off, and we are struggling currently. They want to do expansions of about 100,000 hectares of plantation to that. And so looking at this investment and then the big push. So in fact, there are a lot of good news in the budget, and somebody will say that it's too good to be true. Looking at the number of projects they want to do, and then the number of years available as well. They want to build hospitals. They want to do 6 new regional hospitals. They want to continue that Agenda 111. They want to do 10 of it. In the education sector also, they say they want to do, 100 primary schools, 100 JHS, 200 JHS, 200 primary, 100 kindergartens and others. So they want to upgrade. Very ambitious, very ambitious. That's what I said. There are a lot of good things in there. And when all these projects start, you see that, of course, there will be a lot of people who also gain employment because of the value chain that is across all these kind of projects. And so, like I indicated, what we need is to ensure that all these things, all these projects, will consolidate the gains that we are making now, because currently the economy is fairly stable. And what is important is that whilst we are rolling out and implementing these programs, we should not implement them as political projects. We should make sure that we implement them as national projects, so that whilst we are growing and doing well, it doesn't become a problem as well for itself.
Wonderful. It shouldn't be a political project. I'm very much interested in that. But Paul, let me come to you. What is your biggest takeaway from the budget that was read yesterday, especially, obviously, from the energy sector?
Well, good morning to my brother in the studio, to yourself, and then to viewers. Forgive me for the voice. I'm still battling with some cold here. Now, to come to the substantive issue, Abena, to be very honest, I was happy at one point. The other side, I wasn't too excited because I was hoping to hear some form of good news, especially regarding the downstream sector. Unfortunately, it was as if everything centered around the upstream and then ECG. That notwithstanding, the good news is that Ghana intends building a new thermal plant, which to me is quite exciting, in that currently we are still doing somewhere 18 to 20 cents per kilowatt hour, to the IPPs, in terms of our thermal generation, and it's quite expensive. Again, government tells us that it intends building a second gas processing plant, which comes to us as also a great bit of news because most often than not, the gas that is produced, at various fields are just flared off, and Ghana doesn't benefit, out of all these. So hearing this from the Ministry of Finance, I am positive that by end of year, December 2026, we should be having a gas processing plant in place, just like we have the Tuabo gas, just so we can reduce our reliance, in importing liquid fuel to power our thermal plants. And again, I say that because it's quite expensive when we buy the liquid fuel to power our thermal plants. Again, government intends to, as it were, increase electricity supply, or if you like, rural electrification. So we get a lot more of our rural folks, onto our electricity grid, which is also heartwarming. We've seen quite a number of communities, especially within western and central regions, which have not been connected to the national grid, and it comes as great news for these communities to also be added onto the national grid. Government has informed us that it's renegotiated some of the IPPs, and it comes as also heartwarming in that 1.4 billion debt within the ECG is quite huge. And so to end that we are able to renegotiate this to some 1.15, saving about $250 million is great bit of news for the nation. Right. So all in all, the budget attempted to resolve many of the challenges within the energy sector, except that we did not hear anything, especially with the downstream. We're hoping that Thermal Oil Refinery would have come into the fray. Unfortunately, nothing was mentioned. We've been hearing, in fact, even beginning of the year, we were informed that government was going to do all it can to make sure TOR comes back on stream. Nothing was mentioned in the budget as to how TOR is going to remain functional, remain operational. We are still in the loop. So we were positive that some news was going to come from that angle. Again, we're hoping that government will take a second look at the pricing regime within the downstream sector, especially with taxes and levies on the price build-up, just so we can audit and see where some of the loopholes are, and then take those loopholes off or close those loopholes, those leakages where you have monies going to private pockets instead of coming into the government coffers. I am aware that the NPA intends expanding some of the taxes and levies. I was hopeful that the Minister of Finance would have touched on those expansions. The regulator intends doing in the course of the year and then early next year. Okay. That notwithstanding, some bit of good news here and there, especially with the economy. So it's positive.
It's positive. Okay. Well,
yes, very, very
positive. Says it's positive. Let me come to you, John. What is your biggest takeaway from yesterday's budget reading?
Okay, Abena, I extend my warm greetings to you and all your listeners. I also want to extend the warm greeting of Honorable Alan Kojo Martin, who I represent in your studio. Now, to start with, I want to just lay the foundation of our economy, that our economy pinches on three strong figures, or is built around three strong figures in the country. We talk of central government, we talk of individuals or households, and we talk of firms. Now, the good thing about this budget is that it does not ignore any of these agents of the economy. In fact, the entire budget gives hope, and the title alone of the budget gives a signal to all of us that indeed this government wants or intends to move our economy into a sustainable and resilient one. Abena, with respect to the big push, I wish to state that in every economy, while you talk of agents of the economy like households, and you talk of firms, you also talk of people in agriculture. All these people are producing materials, some of which can be used for production, some of which are also bought in the market for consumption. Now, if it happens that our rules are bad, if it happens that we cannot connect one district or region to the other in terms of mobility of goods and services, then of course a lot will be lacking with respect to having a smooth economic transaction within our country. And with the big push that government has launched, it is exciting to find that they are going to make an express road from Kumasi, linking Kumasi to Accra. They have also launched a lot of programs that indicates that they are moving bridges, bridging the gap between cities and urban areas where cocoa and most farm producers are made. And that is a good signal to us that this government is committed to building a resilient economy. Now, every economy can be undermined or can move or can make progressive gains by its macroeconomic indicators. Now, if you look, Abena, at the then administration, before this administration, things were getting bad. Inflation rose to about 40%. What that meant was that when you take money out of your pocket, the money has got two values. The first value we talk of is the real value. The other value is the economic value. Now, the economic value determines how much basket of goods that money you take out of your pocket can buy. Given that inflation can erode the economic value of the money you have, then it was a cause to worry. People were even claiming at the time that the monies they were receiving out of their salaries were not enough to keep the family going and all that. But now, what do we see? In this budget, we are confident and happy to hear that inflation has dropped to a single digit. That underscores the campaign that our honorable leader and flag bearer then, Honorable Alan Kojo Chirematin, had already written and expressed in the GTP, Great Transformational Plan. What he envisaged was an economy where we will have single-digit inflation, single-digit interest rate, single-digit exchange rate, and so on and so forth. Now what do we see? Coming to CD stabilization. Now we see that the CD is really doing well on the international market. Now we can take 10 CDs for $1 instead of 16 CDs and so on and so forth. So this government needs to be applauded for building a strong macro economy for our nation. One thing that Abena strikes me most, and I'm happy about, is also to appreciate that this government is committed to fighting corruption. You see, you cannot run an economy where all your monies will sink directly or indirectly into corruption. Now, research indicates that every year Ghana is losing about $3 billion to corruption. And we are talking of unemployment. We are talking of skyrocketing interest rates, and so on and so forth. So, if you have a government that is not showing commitment to fighting the canker of corruption, then the country or the entire economy is next to being plunged into the abyss. So for me, for the government to come out boldly to let his own ministers declare their assets It's an indication that this government is already committed to fighting corruption and saving Ghana the monies. And once these monies are saved, they can be channeled into other productive sectors of the economy to boost the economy and spur economic growth.
Okay, John, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Yes, John, I'll come back to you. Doc, government is looking at being very prudent in managing the economy. However, it also wants to embark on certain capital expenditure. When you look at the revenue mobilization that government is also going to embark on, when you put these two together, do you see governments being able to fund all of the projects that it wants to, or would have to return to borrowing?
Yeah, I mean, no government, maybe to a large extent across the globe, will be able to raise enough revenue to finance its own project. It cannot.
It cannot.
It cannot, because the government is not a commercial enterprise where they involve in commercial activities, whereby you invest money and you expect to recoup the returns. Because when government builds roads, government builds schools and hospitals, the fees and the charges on those roads and the schools and hospitals will not be enough to pay for itself. So mostly they are social interventions. So like they are talking about building primary schools, junior high schools, and then kindergartens. Now the fees that are paid are low compared to the private schools. And so these are not money that you spend that will bring income. Because of that, government will always have to borrow. That is why we always have what we call budgetary support, where you have donor agencies, you have bilateral organizations supporting the budget because of this infrastructure project. And so yes, the big push, for instance, there's no way government can raise enough revenue on its own to fund it. It will need external support. And so it's going to be a challenge. However, the current prudency we are experiencing in the system, current fiscal discipline we are experiencing in the system is worth, commending. In fact, yesterday when I heard the finance minister talking about some of the gaps at the port, some of the gaps that relate to import of items, where he's talking about over 70 billion in excess of what people pay out and what they bring in. That tells us that indeed this finance minister is actually going to the ground to see what is happening and look at how much we can save out of these leakages. And when we do that, we are going to be able to generate enough. So even though even if you have challenge raising revenue domestically, if you close the gaps in the procurement system, the gaps in the leakages, it is going to help you to save a lot, and that is what we are experiencing now. And so, indeed, government will not be able to raise enough revenue to finance the key project, but if it continues the fiscal discipline, it is going to cover it to a large extent, such that we will not go and be borrowing in excess. So, because once you reduce your cost, you are prudent and you are cost conscious, then the additional funding that you go for will then not be elevated. And that is why it is worth commending. However, because next year we are going to be out of IMF, because next year we are going to exit IMF. Currently, I would say to a large extent, we are consolidating these gains and stability because we have IMF program that we are under, such that it's like a headmaster with a cane on you to do your homework as a child.
And so you're doing it.
You are doing it. Yeah. The moment he leaves you, then you see the child leaving the homework and start misbehaving, playing around. And that is what takes us to the IMF over the cycle. I'm praying that this should be our last IMF program, because for the first time in the history of this country, we have not gone to the Eurobond market to borrow. Money from cocoa also hasn't come as expected. Oil revenue has shrunk. However, we have been able to build reserves in excess of $11 billion, far more than what we do when we're even going to the Eurobond market to borrow. That tells us that when we manage ourselves well, the Ghanaian is capable of managing his own economy, such that we don't need to go to external support.
But look, now let me look at the fiscal prudence, the spending that many say that government is not spending. That is why we are seeing the economy as it is. If indeed government continues on this trajectory, do you think that we'll be able to maintain the inflation as it is, the economy as it is? Because concerns have been raised, arguments have been advanced that at some point governments will need to spend a lot, and that is where we will see the cracks within our economy. And so when you look at how far we've come 11 months on and the few years ahead of us, or at least the year ahead of us, do you think government will be able to sustain the momentum on which it is?
You see, when people say government is not spending, I don't agree with them, because looking at what is happening currently, the difference between what we are seeing now and in the past, where people think government is not spending, because government is being careful and strategic in the way it spends.
Okay. And
government is also being careful and strategic in the way it borrows. So, for instance, in the past, when government goes to borrow from the treasury bill market, from borrow treasury bill, for instance, what they do is that if they say they need 10 billion and people subscribe, say, 15 billion, government takes everything. But what this finance minister is doing is that if he goes to the market to say he needs 10 billion, at the back of his mind, he knows that, oh, I need 8 billion, but let me go with a target of 10 billion. When he goes and then even there's a subscription, he doesn't even take all. He takes exactly what he needs. So when it happens like that, you don't see excess money going to the system. You don't see excess liquidity that will culminate into inflation. For instance, look at the gold board. Government was giving the gold board CDs to buy gold. And it was as a result of the gold purchase gold bond that has helped us to increase our reserve. But have you seen inflation still going down? You see that inflation was still going down, even though government is pumping money to buy gold. That should tell you that they are looking at when should we pump money to the system. Contractors. What was happening in the past was that even before the contract begins, money is released. What this government is doing is that they are making sure that there's a certificate that shows that indeed all mobilization is intact, everything is okay before they release money. So they don't just release money for the money to go and sit down for people to spend. Because then that is the reason why we see a lot of projects not being completed. Because the project that is supposed to start in 2 months' time, the contractor is not ready. Government releases money. When the contractor sees money, definitely he will start spending on other things. So by the time the actual time is due for the project to start, you see that part of the money has gone somewhere and he cannot be able to complete the project. But now what the government is doing is that, let me know what you want to do and what period. I will release that money, give you timeline. Finish when you finish, come back, I'll give you another one and you continue. So because of this discipline we are seeing in the system, that is what is appearing as if government is not spending. But I can assure you that government is spending.
Okay, we can assure you. So it's just the prudence and the way government has structured how it will spend the monies that it has. Well, Paul, let me come to you. Revenue mobilization, especially with regards to ECG, for our energy sector to stand as it is. A few months ago, we were complaining about how the percentage with which utilities had been increased, especially for electricity. However, we always see that there's a very big what's it called? A gap. There's a very big gap when it comes to the monies that ECG has collected. And so in the coming year that we will be entering, what will be your expectations when it comes to ECG mobilizing revenue and how it is used to sustain our energy sector?
Abena, before I answer your question, let me just add on to what the doctor was saying, especially with the fiscal prudence. There be some level of synergy between the monetary side and that of government side. So you could tell clearly that from the government side, i.e. the finance ministry, the fiscal discipline there, and that of the monetary policies from the Bank of Ghana seem to be working in tandem. And that is how come we are seeing the sort of results we are seeing. But let me also disappoint Doc that come what may, we will still be running to the Bretton Woods institutions. So
is that you being pessimistic, Paul?
No. Abena, whether we like it or yes, we will still be returning to the Bretton Woods institution. It might not be the IMF, but who knows? Maybe the World Bank. But that has been our trajectory. I mean, that has been the case for only God knows how long. Even without oil. We're still going with oil. We are still there. So I do not want to go into those ones now. However, with regards to ECG, yes, there seems to be some level of efficiency with the current management at ECG. And I'm happy that the finance minister indicated that indeed revenue generation has shot up by over 50%. That means we're collecting somewhere around 900 million, and now we are doing about 1.6, 1.7 billion, which is commendable. Having said that, I also think that there are still a lot that needs to be done at ECG. One, there has to be a complete overhaul of awarding of contracts, within ECG. It was the case that the MD had a power of awarding contract worth a maximum of 1 million, and that ought to be looked at. I would advise that it goes rather to the board for every contract to be approved. So it shouldn't be within the whims and caprices of the MD to be awarding contracts at a maximum of 1 million. No, I wish that going into the future, all contracts will pass through the board for whatever approval that needs to be given. Again, I'm happy that it has taken upon itself, the new board and management has taken upon itself to review, including the Energy Ministry, to review the various contracts, within ECG, and we have seen that some of those contracts have been cancelled, and some are still under review, hoping that we'll get some positive news over there. Again, we have seen a renegotiation with the IPPs. We have made some gains, significant gains in there. The 250 million we have saved is quite commendable. I would have wished that we are able to get a lot more from the IPPs, because believe you me, between Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, we are one of the highest in terms of a kilowatt, the price per kilowatt, in our country. We are doing somewhere 18, 16 cents per kilowatt, which is quite huge. Others are doing 8, 10, and we are doing within that region.
What will be accounting? What will be accounting for such high amount?
You see, it was the arrangement, the agreement we had with them from the initial stages when we signed onto some of those contracts. And so it's become necessary for us to go back to these IPPs to have those contracts, renegotiated. The take or pay is still hurting us. If it is renegotiated and it is take and pay is quite okay, but take or pay is going to hurt us in the end. It's going to hurt us in the end, because there are occasions where we are having excess capacity that we do not really need as a country. But by virtue of the fact that we have gone into that contract, we have signed on to whether they produce and we use or not, we have to pay. But if it is the case that they produce, whatever they produce at the end of the day is what we need, then we pay for it. So when we take from them, we pay what we take, and not just because they have produced, so we need to pay for. So those are the things I'll be happy the government is able to take a second look at as part of the renegotiation process, so we can get a lot more from these IPPs.
Okay.
Having said that, government is also looking at building mini hydros on the Voltarian Basin, which is again is quite commendable, brings some form of security to our electricity situation. Mind you, the 24-hour economy is also, at the corner. If you want to be going ahead with such a policy, then it means that energy security should be of paramount importance.
Paul, I'm glad you mentioned 24-hour economy, because I was going to come to that after our break. Talk about 24-hour economy, rural electrification and all of that, how the economy can grow when all of this is working. So Paul, I'll come back to you and we'll talk about that there more. But John, let me come to you.
Okay. Government
and all of its plans for the nation, very ambitious plans when it comes to education. When we started, Doc mentioned it. Government is looking at building a lot of education infrastructure in the country. For some, the numbers are too huge. For others, we're already suffering when it comes to education infrastructure in the country, and so it is quite less. For you, what will be the things when it comes to education that government should place more emphasis on?
Okay, Abena, thank you. Let me start by saying that education constitutes one great asset in the economy, and that asset is human capital. In fact, after school, we transition into the world of work. And what we trade our cognitive abilities for is what we are describing here as the human capital. Now, Abena, in every institution, we talk of three things. The first one has got to do with infrastructure. That is the place where learning takes place. Conducive environment that is not overcrowded and allows students to go about their activities. We also talk about content, what our children are learning, or what every learner is learning. Is it in relation to the policy, economic policy of the state? So for me, these two things, before you come to talk about pedagogy, that is the methodologies teachers will use in driving home the content knowledge to every learner. So for me, and for the stance of United Party, what we see government can do additionally. But before I say that, let me say that what the government has done so far is commendable, because it doesn't make economic sense to build many community-based schools and leave them in the bush. That will amount to drainage, that will amount to wastage or waste in the economy. So for the government to revisit projects that are already touched by previous administration is well commendable in the first place. Two, government intends to move grade C schools into grade B schools. What that means is massive infrastructure, massive laboratory equipment, and so on and so forth. Because when you learn with resources. Books are part of the resources. Science laboratories are part of the resources. That makes learning a little more concrete. Now, let's come to the content. And the content is what I'm saying, that at this point, government should be focused on linking courses that are relevant to economic development. There should be cancellation of courses that are, in quote, irrelevant in our curriculum. What every child is doing should be hinged on one thing, and that thing should be the policy orientation of the state. It is sad to realize that in our schools we are not doing entrepreneurship. But we know that in every state, entrepreneurship contributes massively to employment. And if every child is to go through a system that is based on learn, memorize, pass exams, and seek job, who will have the mental fortitude to set up job?
Okay, well, John, let me hold you for just a moment and take a very quick break. When I come back, we'll look at the entrepreneurship that you're talking about, because indeed, we have a lot of entrepreneurs. We are always encouraged to enter into entrepreneurship and not rely on only government jobs. Viewers, let's take this very short commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. I still have with me Dr. Peter Tepe, policy analyst, Paul Ofori, head of research for COPEC, and John Amponsa, the deputy director of communications for the United Party. We'll be back.
pepper and onion. A delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenini na da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
And your daddy trying to kiss keke.
Gino magic pepper and onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come and see what. Wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to obtain and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
For staying with us. This is still ABC in the Morning live here on ABC News GH, and we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. Before we went, John of the United Party was talking about entrepreneurship, how we should introduce entrepreneurship into education. John, let me come back to you. More often than not, when we raise the concern about lack of jobs in the country, we are told that don't rely on the jobs that governments can give, or don't rely on only the private sector. There's something in your hand you can use, so set up a business. So since you are saying that we should include it in education, how are you expecting that inclusion to be done?
Okay, Abena, thank you. Now, the education we have in our country hinges around three institutions. The first institution being the policy maker, Ministry of Education. The next institution being Ghana Education Service. And the other institution being National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. Now, what happens is that the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment takes feed from the policy that the government has made in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. Where is the direction for our economic transformation? Then, of course, it builds a curriculum around this theme to ensure that in the long run, our learners will be required or will have to pass an aptitude test on at least the core competencies that are required and the content knowledge that are required for them to be responsible and effective citizens. So one best way to start with will be that after the government have set a national economic versus education policy, National Council for Curriculum and Assessment will take this policy, implement it right from kindergarten up to SHS. The problem we have in Ghana, per my understanding, is that we lack the mental fortitude to want to create jobs. Now, if you are to ask me what entrepreneurship is about, it's simply a matter of turning problems into opportunities. Abena, if you go to the north after Tamale and drive 3 hours into Bolgatanga, look on your right and left. You will cross a huge patch of lands on your left and right before you get to a small town, cross it, pass another huge parcel of land before you get to another small town, pass it. So by the time you reach Bolgatanga, you see that there are a whole parcel of lands that will be turned into the production of cereals to add to our traditional export commodities. Now, because everybody is made to think through our education system, that the well-being of a person after education is to receive a well-paid salary, nobody seems to be looking around his or her environment to find out the particular problem of the area in order to attempt to solve it. Now, if you are to ask me who a potential entrepreneur is, I will tell you it's a person that has a problem to solve. But now, go and find out from people within our society, and you will see many people telling you that they don't have capital. So if I give you capital without ideas, what can you do? And the ideation comes from what? Design thinking, problem identification, and thinking around solving the problem. So for our economy to go very well, if NACA should implement entrepreneurship as a program on its own, right from KG up to university, let me say kudos to KNUST, because at least there you will do economics for your first year. All of you will do economics, and there are elements of entrepreneurship that are embedded in most programs at your first year in KNUST. But that is not enough. We need to start right from where the children are starting education and build them up to SHS. So when you want to transit into the world of work, you have 2 options to choose from, Abena. Either to lend your services or human capital to an existing firm or create your own. Of course, every student that leaves SHS, that leaves university, if you are fortunate, you still have your family and your parents around. That is where the support for entrepreneurship first starts from, where the child will build the confidence to want to start something on his or her own. Abena, that is what we are talking about.
Okay.
So one key thing that government can consider doing, one, is to make it a policy concern that our children need that skill, that entrepreneurial skill, as part of the core skills like critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and so on and so forth. That is the world of work, skills that are required of the world of work. But in the school, they need to go beyond building these skills through scaffolding activities to a program dubbed entrepreneurship.
Okay, Paul.
Now, Abena, let us also psych our children, and that will be a social impact analysis we can make. Abena, look throughout the world. every economy in the world, the dictators and people who benefit disproportionately from the economy are all entrepreneurs and inventors. Challenge me. The whole world, every world, the economy is such that people who make disproportionate gains of the economy are those who solve problems everywhere in the world. So if you teach or let every child know that, well, if you want to get more, take the necessary risk. After all, there is a principle in finance that the highest risk yields the highest dividends. Everybody knows that going to find a problem to solve is a long process, very tedious, and require much mental fortitude and higher business acumen to be able to do that. But if we are to start to converse like this, you will get at least some students who will be motivated by the mere fact that the whole world, entrepreneurs and innovators, benefit disproportionately from the economy. You will get students who will be motivated only by this statement to want to start something on their own. But how can they start something on their own without the necessary knowledge and skills? That is where education comes in. And that is where we propose that our education system should be looked into to introduce courses that are parallel to make parallel to the economy and has what it takes to build the competencies that are required of every child to thrive in a thriving and resilient economy.
All right, John, thank you so much. Let me come to Doc in the studio. Government is looking at creating some 800,000 jobs. Looking at all that government has outlined, will government be able to achieve that? Also, Doc, let me chip this in. Government raising the tax registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000. This, in some way, gives those who would want to enter entrepreneurship, like John is saying, some ease in entering business, because now the tax component is quite high. So I fall way below it. The monies that could have gone into paying taxes, I could invest more into my business, bring people into the business. That is one aspect. Now, with government creating the 800,000 jobs, all that has been outlined in our budget, including being prudent, is government able to achieve that target of job creation?
Well, anything that you set out your mind to do, if you follow the processes that, will make it succeed, definitely you will be able to achieve the target. The problem we have as a country is that when we talk about employment creation, we rather focus more on giving people the idea, the training, and then we leave them on their own. And so you see youth in this, youth in that, but what will empower the person to be able to start something, we lack it. So for instance, we say youth in agriculture, and you want to train people, you want to encourage people. Government has brought so many policies. We have the Nkoko Ketiketi that they've just started, for instance. These are employment creation measures, but how will the person who is trained in poultry be able to handle that so that you see it as a venture that he can continue? That can only happen when government create the enabling environment in terms of market, so that when you go into the poultry, you know that when I finish, I'm going to sell it at this place and I'll get money. Then it helps you. If you don't create that enabling environment, then the employment creation will be a problem. So you see that over the years, past government have done a lot to say they are creating employment, but we still have a lot of unemployed people as well. The reason is that we have a policy, we roll it out as a political policy. We don't see it as a national policy, whereby instead of saying, let's train people, for people to say that, yes, we are putting them into training, why don't we say that, let us rather train people and empower them? For instance, free senior high school, very fantastic policy. It's a way of enlightening people, because as for education is very good. But you see, the kind of people that government wants to bring, because there's nowhere everybody will go to school. We have to just accept that fact. But once you want to bring people into the certain knowledge, there are people, for them, they don't even want to go to the school already. So what you have to do is that look at the interests of those people. You know, in the 2000s and the early 90s, we have carpentry workshops in the JHS system, where you go and are able to learn carpentry. So there are some people who complete JHS, they don't even continue to SHS. But by the time they leave JHS, they have some work to do. They are able to, they have some skill. These are some of the things that should have been introduced in the SHS system, so that those who have the grade or the result that is not good, instead of them to go and spend money to say they are going to write to better, you look at the person's interest.
Okay, but in SHS, at least when I was in SHS, I knew that for those who were reading home economics, it was a very great opportunity for them to transition into the entrepreneurship business, even if they wanted to add tertiary education to it, because by the time they were completing school, they could sew. They would have fashion exhibitions or fashion show and show us what they sew. Those who were in food and nutrition could cook. So for them, it was available for them. Are you saying that beyond those ones and those who did visual arts, clay work and all, are you saying beyond that there should be more?
Yes, but you see, it's just in recent time that we've seen that showcasing of the fashion, and in the 2000s it wasn't there. It wasn't there. So, for instance, those who are doing visual art, it is part of the artwork is part of the subject that they study. But if you want to train somebody to come out and go into it, you want to train somebody to come out to become a welder, to become an electrician, to become a plumber, then there should be a course specifically meant for that. So that you don't disturb that person with other courses that would distort him. If the person is interested in this, we should be able, you see, the reason why we have the industry like the carpentry going down, the agowus and the pogas, their business have gone down, and we have a lot of imported furniture into the system, is because over the years, we did not take our time to deliberately train skilled workers who will be able to improve on the kind of furniture they do, kind of table they do. So we allow them to learn on the job. So, I want to learn carpentry. Okay, then let's take him or her to this place. Go and learn on the job. Okay, so they are producing crude stuff. But if it is deliberate, then you know that, okay, we are going to learn carpentry. Then we are going to learn welding. Then you see that when the person finishes, the same output that we import from outside, the same output is what we see here. So that we will not say, like the furniture in the House of Parliament, for instance. We should be able to have a Ghanaian business, furniture business, that we can say that this is what they can do. You compare it and you see that this is different. Sometimes you look at the work, the imported furniture, and you ask yourself, why can't we do the same thing? You see, you buy items from outside and you see the welding, how they did the welding. You compare it with the welders in Ghana and you wonder. You have a plumbing work, electrical work to be done. The person will come and you'll be doing trial and error and you'll be wondering. So we need to be deliberate in that, because we are heading towards a situation where Ghana will become expensive to live in, because we will not have electricians, we will not have carpenters, we will not have masons in the system, we will not have plumbers who will be doing the work for us, because we are training people in a certain direction and we are leaving the real economy where people, it will take people out of unemployment and give them a lot of jobs. We are rather leaving that aspect, thinking that, after all, artisans, for instance, they want to establish science and technology school in Damongo per the budget that they read. So what do we want to achieve with that? It should be targeted, that if it is for artisanal skill, then let's say it's a university for artisans, so that the plumbers, the electricians, the masons will be certified. Then that job becomes decent. They value it. Okay. Then it becomes an venture. Like he's talking about entrepreneurship. You see, it's about solving problems. But if you leave the problem in the hands of those who create the problems, and you don't look for the solution, those who provide the solution, then we will be recycling it. We'll be recycling it. Exactly.
Well, Paul, let me come to you, because quickly our time keeps running out. I'm enjoying the conversation, and I hoped that would have continued. Paul, like we mentioned, we're going to come to the 24-hour economy bit. Government is very intent on 24-hour economy. Government is intent on sending so many things all across the country. But as you rightly said from the beginning, there are some areas that still do not have electricity. The energy sector's role in ensuring that government's plan for the 24-hour economy program succeeds and succeeds to the maximum.
Well, I think quite a number of policies are being rolled out, especially with the energy sector. I'm aware. In fact, I belong to a committee that is working around the clock, making sure the 24-hour economy within the downstream comes into fruition. That notwithstanding, I think that the 2 billion cedis government is pushing into rural electrification is commendable. I mean, he mentioned about 3 regions, the Western, the Central, and then the OT regions, trying to bring all these communities to the national grid. Is going to also put a lot more pressure on ECG in terms of its transformers. If you are bringing these communities who are not part of the national grid, then it will mean that there ought to be an infrastructure in place that is able to accommodate these communities as they are coming to join the national grid. If you do not put the necessary infrastructure in place and then just go on and join these ones, then it will mean that the doomsaw is going to be coming back, anytime, when these communities are put in there. So my advice is that we put in the necessary infrastructure, just like the funding has been earmarked. We are hopeful and positive that government will go ahead and implement, that policy, making sure that we have, if not even 100%, about 95% coverage in terms of rural electrification. Again, one would have thought that since we are talking about ECG, government would have mentioned perhaps the private hands that it intended to bring in, just so we are able to cut the technical and commercial losses that ECG reports every now and then. Unfortunately, government said nothing about that in the budget. We're hopeful that government would have gone ahead to tell us in terms of the various committees that it has set up, in going around the country, making sure we find a credible investor on that score. Fortunately, no news from that angle. And so it's difficult to tell going into the future what really government has for the ECG. Again, with the 24-hour economy, government says that it is going to make sure there is what is called availability of petroleum products on the market. We were imploring government to consider setting up a special petroleum fund where on the market, when I say on the market, I'm talking of the international market, when the market is favorable, we will be able to import a lot more of the product and then store, release them when prices on the international market is high. As we speak, currently, gas oil, which is diesel, has gone up by almost 12% over the last 1 week. And that's quite significant. So it's going to affect our window, from Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So these are the challenges we have. If you want to run a 24-hour economy, you should be able to factor some of these things in, just so you have that laxity, that room to be able to operate freely. But where you have these hindrances, then it becomes difficult to go in ahead to implement. We do not really have, in place the whole spectrum of the 24-hour economy. But if I'm speaking to it, then I'm just coming from the downstream sector, really what government wants to do. And so currently it is giving licenses to, as it were, individuals or private entities who are interested, in setting up EV charging ports, around the country. So if you are interested as an individual, you go to the MP or the regulator, and then get your license, go set up your own EV charging center, and I'm sure that in the not too distant future, since we are using a lot more of EV vehicles in the country, some of these services will be coming to various parts of the country, and they will be using a lot of electricity as well. So by and large, the downstream is somehow ready. Unfortunately, the only news I can report is that we're hoping government would have also touched on the 1 cedi levy it had collected, tell us how much we've been able to generate and how much it has also subvented to the ECG. There was no mention of that either. And like I said earlier, we are picking from the regulator that it might expand some of the taxes and levies within the downstream sector. And it is going to pose a significant challenge to commuters, transport operators, you and I as ordinary users or consumers of petroleum products. So largely, that is all I can report from there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the 1 Ghana cedi levy and how it could impact the commuter, the consumer, and all. But I'll let you speak on that finally after John has given me his final thoughts. John, let's have your final thoughts on our conversation this morning.
Okay. I think it's been a wonderful show. All that I need to say for now is that this government should concentrate much on R&D. I see a lot of waste going on in our country with respect to energy. If we are to have a sustainable energy program to run our 24-hour economy, then it is recommended that we educate the users, the households, to avoid waste. Now, I don't see any data at the Ministry of Finance that show us how individuals in our homes use electricity. I feel that there should be data concerning how electricity is used in our homes so that we implement a policy for educating the public on saving energy in our homes. That is one. The other aspect I would like to talk about is for government to also consider looking at BOT as an option to creating more jobs. Build, operate, transfer is a policy initiative that is accepted worldwide, and so government can take advantage of BOT, invite the private sector, and deliberately build billionaires within the country. Now, Abena, if you go to Accra and go to Accra Mall, you come to Kumasi and go to Kumasi Mall, you will see there are so many foreign direct investments going on. One thing we have not spoken about during this conversation is that at the end of the fiscal year, these foreign direct investors who have produced services and products will repatriate their cedi back to their country. And so it is a deliberate attempt by their president, their government, to resource them to expand their operations, their economic activities beyond the geographical area of their country for the purpose of attracting or gaining foreign exchange, which can be indexed to our country's reserves to make our cedi appreciate further than we are. Ghana should be deliberate at creating its own billionaires, resourcing existing businesses to expand. Abena, you cannot, yes, already the previous administration came with 1 district, 1 factory, and they identified some existing companies that had the potential to produce and market beyond the country. Now, government should reinvest in some of these and also identify other potential entrepreneurs who they can resource into building alternative businesses. ABENA research indicates, as I speak with you, that on daily basis, Ghanaians consume 600,000 full chicken each day. And the amount of money we use to import this into the country is around $400 billion. So at the end of the day, if we are to look at the value chain of producing livestock, like in Kukon Kitinkiti, and do it professionally well with an industry, then we'll be able to feed Ghanaians with a homegrown economic policy and export to other African or European countries.
Okay.
What that will mean is that we'll get much foreign exchange to come and add. Imagine, ABENA, you have a cold store or a livestock asset in Togo, and at the end of the fiscal year, you are repatriating that money back to Ghana. And we have 10 or 20 of you doing shit to the economy. ABENA, where do you think we will go from here? So I really want to disagree with people who do not think that Ghana can be a resilient economy with prudence, with fiscal discipline, as this government has already exhibited within 9 months. I feel and have the sense of hope as a patriotic citizen that if we continue in this trajectory, cut corruption, build resilience, have foresight, deliberately invest in individuals to start up problem solving and translate problem solving into enterprises that have the capacity to export and build a robust macroeconomic system, then ABENA, I can tell you that I can sit here and project that in the next 10 years, Ghana will not go back to the Bretton Woods institutions.
Okay, John,
I wish
thank
to
you.
say and add that aggressively, Ghanaians are watching this government over how he is dealing with corruption. Already I have underlined that we are very pleased with how he's building confidence around the fight for corruption. However, it shouldn't end there. People should go to jail on
Okay,
that
John.
account,
All right.
so that nobody should see government as a platform to go and make indecent and dishonest wealth. If you want indecent wealth or you want wealth, go back to entrepreneurship, create jobs, and steal from your own pocket.
All right, John.
Not from the pocket of taxpayers' money.
Okay,
so
John. We'll talk
to
more.
fighting corruption in that respect.
We'll talk more on that. Thank you, John. Paul, let me come to you and also pick your final thoughts, especially with regards to the One Ghana CD levy, that energy sector levy that government says that at some point it will remove. We did not hear anything about it in the budget. Should we be concerned? Should we be worried?
No, we've been raising issues on that for some time now, and we're hoping that government would have accounted to the good people of Ghana on same. Unfortunately, that did not materialize. We admonished government that prior to the implementation of the 1 cedi levy, it ought to have set up a special account, if I should say, just so we can lodge in those monies and it can be as transparent as possible. And then we can hold everyone accountable within that chain. But where it is going into the consolidated fund, it will be difficult to track. Okay, so the issue here is about transparency. We started collecting from the 16th of August. So about 5 windows gone down the line. We do not know how much the fund has generated so far, how much of it has been given to ECG, and for what purpose. All right, and who even authorized. So Ghanaians would have wished to have such information just so it motivates us to go ahead and then continue the payment. Again, we're told that from time to time it was going to be reviewed. We've had issues of petrol prices going up. One would have thought that those were opportune times for government to have reviewed, perhaps suspended the implementation or the collection of the levy and then come back where prices are a bit favorable and then collect same. But, you know, again, we do not have any news on that score. So we've been admonishing government to take a look at reviewing the 1 cedi levy, its implementation properly, and then, if possible, introduce some level of sunset clauses, just so we know how long it intends collecting the levy, because as it stands, we don't know whether it's going to be 5, 10, 20 years, because there's nothing to show. All we know is that government says it is going to review from time to time, from which time you and I are still not in the know. So those are the issues we wish government would take a second look at, so that we can be accountable to the people, and then we can give them some level of assurance that indeed the monies they are paying for, this is what we are using them for, and this is how much we have collected, and what have you.
Okay.
Anything apart from that, I'm afraid it will be difficult going back to the people to request anything more.
Okay. Well, Paul, thank you so much. Paul and John, I'm most grateful that you joined me this morning. We'll look forward to speaking them more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me too.
Well, Doc, let me come back to you in the studio and then end the conversation. There's so much about the budget that obviously would have to pick one after the other and peruse them all. But now that it's been read, we know the government's focus for the next year. What is the one thing, if you could speak to the finance minister, you would tell him to prioritize?
Thank you. What I would tell the finance minister to prioritize is stabilizing the macro gains that we have made now. Because every business is looking up to stability to plan. Everybody is looking forward to receive salary, and at the end of the day, he can plan to say that when I go to the market, I can buy ABC with this amount of money. Everybody is looking forward to a situation where you wake up and then you not see exchange rate going to a certain level where you cannot plan. And so we want to see an economy that is very stable, that is friendly to business. That notwithstanding, I want to tell the appointees, I want to also send a message to the appointees, especially the ministers and other government appointees, that if you look at those that President Mahama has appointed, they are fairly young, young people, and they shouldn't allow power to get into them. They should see it as an opportunity to serve Mother Ghana. Out of the 30 million plus people, they have the privilege to serve the country. And so they shouldn't allow themselves to be manipulated by people who are interested in power and money that will go into them. When they do that, they are destroying their own future because they are young. And at the end of the day, when you crash as a young person, you end up living long and it becomes a challenge. And so I want them to see it as an opportunity to let Ghanaians reward them by allowing Ghanaians to say, we want you to serve us more because of your performance. So they should do that. They should see that.
Okay. Doc, thank you so much. We're most grateful that you joined us this morning and for all of your input into the conversation. Again, we'll be looking forward to dissecting the budget better, taking it one after the other and having more conversations there.
Certainly.
Dr. Peter Tete is a policy analyst. He's joined us for this conversation this morning. And that's all for our main discussion here on ABC in the morning. We will take a break. When we return, we'll bring you more on the show. We'll want to hear your voice, and so we'll open the phone lines so that you can call us and share your thoughts with us after this break.
Sports without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your admits of matters with expert insight from our renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make me ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
The glam we see, the characters we love, they've got stories untapped, events untold, the sequence and details of the experiences unheard.
To my dad, I'm the stubborn one. To my mom, he's the stubborn one.
To the first management that I got, I think I was made to exercise a whole year.
Hey, I'm 20. All I know is how to have sex.
I was out of contract for 4 years.
The pain, the agony, the frustration.
They made my depression worse. Kimori,
yes. The hospital doesn't have a mortuary. We would have to take the baby in a box and then get rid of the body ourselves.
Sometimes I say something and they take it out of context and they bash my husband, they bash my family.
But hey, they survived, and they're here to chronicle their journey with me, Miss G,
on ABC News GA.
You're still watching ABC in the morning, live here on ABC News GH. By now, I believe most of you are at work. You are working hard towards the weekend. I wish you the very best as you make some sales, some very good sales, as you put together your reports for the end of the weekend. All I wish you the very best. But it is time to hear your voice. Ghana Speaks is the segment where we allow you, we give you the opportunity to also weigh in on the conversations. You are the Ghanaian, and you are the most important when it comes to anything government is doing or anything that happens in the country. Because without you, what can we do? So you can call us on 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609 and share your thoughts with us. I look forward to hearing from you. When you call, kindly turn down the volume of your TV. If you can, just turn it off for the period we will be talking with you. And after that, you can still catch it because we are showing it on Facebook and on YouTube. So please turn down the volume of your TV when you call and share your thoughts with us. 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609. On Facebook, Teacher Kujo Tepenyinesusu says, the entire NDC economic team is not smart. If they had a majority in parliament, they could have maintained the COVID-19 levy and the gaming and betting tax. That would have given them enough revenue to improve the equipment and vehicles in the health sector, as well as to enhance sport infrastructure. The NDC economic management team enjoys propaganda and populism, so they cannot make bold decisions. Greetings to Dr. Baumia, Honorable Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe, MP for Hafano North, Chairman Odenehu Kwekwa Piakoka, and JFK. Teacher Kujo, thank you for sending in your comments. But Teacher Kujo will always end with his shout outs to, I think, some of his favorite people on YouTube. This comment is from Mr. Johnny Channel, and he says, corrupt leaders do something better for the country. And so this is from Mr. Johnny Channel. But call us and share your thoughts with us. 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. I'd really love to hear your voice, what you have to say on all of the conversations we've been having. The budget has been read, 2026 budget has been read. What are your expectations now that the budget has been read? Is it a budget that inspires confidence in you? Which part of the budget really affects you as a person? Are you a business person? Where do you find yourself within the budget? 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Please share your thoughts with us and let's hear what you two have to say on the conversations we've been having. But yesterday, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, was in Parliament and he has delivered the 2026 budget. We can now appreciate what government intends to do as we enter 2026. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Hello, good morning. Well, I'm unable to hear you. If you can hear me, can you speak up? Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please, this is Clifford from Asherman.
Clifford, let's hear you.
Yeah, for the budget, I'm very happy with all what, and even looking at the COVID tax being abolished, I'm very happy about that.
You're happy that COVID tax has
God bless Atuforsen.
Okay, all right, Clifford. So that's Clifford also calling, and Clifford says that he is happy that the COVID-19 levy has been abolished. Are you also happy about that? Well, Teacher Kujo Tepenyenesusu on Facebook is unhappy about that. He believes that the COVID-19 levy could have been channeled into infrastructure for our hospitals. Let's hear what you two have to say. 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Call us and share your thoughts with us. But let me run through the budget for you, some of the things that are captured in the 2026 budget statement. Also, I will be looking forward to all of the debates that will be made after this. Well, so this is the 2026 budget statement, and this is on revenue mobilization targets. Total revenue and grants for 2026 is projected at 268.1 billion Ghana cedis, up from 266.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello.
Yeah. My name is Abena, calling from Nobadi.
Hello, Abena. Thank you for calling. Share your thoughts with us.
All right. So I'm thankful the minister made mention of the COVID-19 tax being scrapped off. It makes complete sense to me because I wouldn't buy items and then have that COVID levy on it.
Okay.
So I'm grateful it has been scrapped off, and I pray that the government will work towards the rest of the taxes that Ghanaians are not really happy with in the next budget. Thank you.
All right, Abena, thank you too for calling. Well, COVID-19 levy seems to have been really on the hearts of a lot of people that it should be scrapped, it should be removed. Well, it has been removed. Let's see what more government is able to do. But I was reading some of... Okay, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
My name is Anan. I'm calling from Kolegono.
Anan, I hope you are fine. And how is Kolegono?
So good.
Great. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. What I want to say about the budget is about the Accra Kumasi Highway.
Okay, the expressway.
Yeah, the expressway is unimaginable. It's a dream come true.
Okay.
But what I was a bit disappointed about the adulthood Echi Amafu Bridge.
Okay, why were you disappointed?
Yeah, there was no any elaboration on it.
Okay. Well,
yes.
Let's see what happens in the budget review, and maybe in the media budget review, something will be said about it.
Oh, yes, because that is the gateway.
All right, and thank you for calling.
That's the main economic hub for the country, and I hope if that bridge is built, Mama will be the best president in the world.
All right, and thank you.
Our scarce resources, he has made it.
All right, thank you. Well, so that's all for the calls today, but we look forward to speaking with you the more anytime we open the phone lines. You can also always send in your comments on the live stream, and we will read them to the hearing of everybody. But thank you for calling. That's all for Ghana Speaks this morning on ABC in the morning. We'll take a very quick break. When we return, we bring you the latest in the world of sports. Yesterday, Nigeria faced Gabon. Let's see how it went for either of the countries. And Ghana will also be playing match today. But we'll bring you all of that when we return for the latest in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Hey, so mommy, who is going to do my wade jollof?
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so good. Tasty nie.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with a perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
For the latest in the world of sports, and today Eugene Ofori Soti joins me in the studio. Hello, Soti, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well, boss. It's good to be here.
I'm also happy you are here. Hardly do you join me for the latest in the world of sports. So thank you for gracing me with your presence this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yesterday the budget was read. Was there anything for the world of sports, for the sports fraternity, for the sports ministry?
Well, yes. During the campaign season last year, the NDC administration promised a lot of things. One, they segmented their promises into sports infrastructure and then talent development as well. And they started with manifesting their promises with a few promises. So yesterday in the budget, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasela Toforsin, promised that government was allocating 200 million Ghana cedis for the construction of 3 new stadia in 3 regions. Remember that with the creation of the 6 new regions, it means there's a deficit. For example, the OT region does not have any standard stadium, so they need that, because once they were in the Volta region, then they needed they were under the Volta region, but now that they are out of the Volta region, they also need this. Some of the other regions also need a few, so even 3 is inadequate, but 200 million is what has initially been set aside for the construction of the stadium. Then the big one is Ghana has qualified to the World Cup, so it means that obviously there need to be some capital expenditure for that, and so they have allocated 150 million Ghana cedis for our World Cup expenditure. But usually FIFA will also give us some money afterwards, and then they'll use that to supplement. But 150 million for our participation at the World Cup. Well, we'll be reimbursed by FIFA at a point. So usually these monies are given as almost like a loan, and then when FIFA pays back the money, then they reimburse the government. So we could hear the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasela Toforsin, speaking on the floor of Parliament yesterday.
An amount of 200 million Ghana cedis has also been allocated for the construction of mini stadiums in 3 regions. Mr. Speaker, again, an amount of 150 million has been allocated for the procurement of fire tenders and assorted fire equipment. And finally, Mr. Speaker, an amount of 150 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the Black Stars to participate in the World Cup. Mr. Speaker, 200 million Ghana.
So that was the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasela Toforsin, speaking there. So a lot of money, you could say, has been allocated for the sports ministry. Once there's a World Cup here or there's a major tournament, you know, there's a lot of interest. But there's a caveat to this. 2 days ago, the sports minister says government is not taking any fund to the World Cup.
When I saw that, I saw some comments on social media, and I said, people are going to be really heartbroken if this really is the decision of the minister.
Well, we are a country of laws, and if we say our laws work, and we are a country where law and order works, the government white paper from the 2014 World Cup, there was by Justice Jamefe, who is now with the Supreme Court. A section of it was that funds should not be taken to major tournaments again, sponsored by the recommendation sponsored by the state, but subsequently, new governments came and then they rubbished that and did what they wanted. And so I'm sure the government has decided that they were in charge when that thing happened. And so to forestall any occurrence of what happened in 2014, they will try and streamline our activities.
Well, we're all looking forward to seeing that. World Cup is not so far away. Let's see if it continues like that.
Well, away from that, still on the Black Stars, away from World Cup, they are preparing for the World Cup with a few games. We are not qualified. We've not qualified for the AFCON, so right now we have time to prepare ourselves. And so we have a few games. The Kirin Cup, we played it in the last World Cup against Japan and South Korea. It's on again this week. In fact, today the Black Stars are playing in a few minutes' time against the Samurai Blue of Japan in the Kirin Cup. The lineups are out, and we'll display that on the screen shortly. But Otuado has been speaking, the head coach. He's been speaking on the quality of the current Black Stars team. He believes that this team has the potential to do good, looking at what happened in 2022, how we managed to almost draw against Portugal in the World Cup. We beat Korea, and then we lost against Uruguay. He believes that is a stepping stone for this current team to do a bit of exploits at next year's World Cup. So let's take a listen to head coach Otuado.
It's going to be very, very tough for us, but we have developed, we have a lot of young, hungry players on board. We have a team, I think, on bad days we can struggle, but on good days we can beat everyone. We showed at the last World Cup at least also that Yeah, we were close to beat Portugal, and we beat South Korea. So I think we have a competitive team, and we're looking forward also to make the next step.
Well, so that was Otuado there, but we'll get the lineup for you, and as well we'll get the head-to-head in terms of Ghana's fixture. So this is the lineup for you. The big change is that for the first time in about 6 matches, our first choice goalkeeper Benjamin Asare is not in post. He's been replaced by St. Patrick Athletics Joseph Annan, formerly of West Ham. So Joseph Annan makes his debut for the Black Stars against Japan. Caleb Irenchi, Jonas Ajete in center of the defense. Kwesisipo. Also, Brandon Thomas Asante, for the first time in over a year, makes his Black Stars start. Antoine Semenyo also, for the first time, is the skipper for the Black Stars in such a big game. Derek Athakon, who made his switch for the Black Stars recently, makes his debut against Japan. Kojo Pomprepa, who plays for OGC Nice in the French League A, played against Comoros at the Crashport Stadium where he made his debut. He makes his second, he plays second game for the Black Stars, and his first start against Japan. Francis Tabu, who has been out of the team for a few months, makes his return, as well as Kamaudin Suleimana. On the bench, Lawrence Atizigi, Alidu Seidu, Gideon Mensah, Mohamed Salisu, and Kelvin Nkrumah as well. Let's also have the head-to-head on the screen at the moment. So we've played 7 games with Japan. Ghana has won just twice, and Japan has won 5 times. Remember, in the last Kirin Cup as well, we got beaten about 4-0. So Japan has got a very good record against the Black Stars. We'll be hoping that they'll be able to get one better over their Japanese counterparts in this game. And so Otuado has been speaking about the Japanese team. Here's what he had to say on the Samurai Blues.
I can see Japan also playing with a different system now, very, very strong. You can see Japan developing a lot of players, new players coming up since then. I mean, and especially with a result beating Brazil 3-2. See how Japanese football has developed, and it's still developing.
So should I call for the highlight? Well, so that's it with the Black Stars. Ghana takes on the Samurai Blues at 10:20 a.m. this morning, just about 30 minutes. However, yesterday the FIFA World Cup playoffs took place. The first part, the semi-finals, Nigeria taking on Gabon. Nigeria Super Eagles beat Gabon by 4-1 in extra time. Then the Cameroonians were stunned in a stoppage time. Mina equalizing to make it 1-1 at the 88th minute, before in the second half of extra time, the Nigerians took a 3-goal advantage here. So that's the goal by Chidera Ejuke. He scored to make it 2-1 at this point. Victor Osimhen then scored a brace to make it 4-1 for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let's hear from Akko Adams, who scored the second goal for the Super Eagles of Nigeria to make it crucially for them.
We didn't think that we will be